Hello and welcome to DCB Live episode number 214, the
Woo!
chilliest,
Woo!
iciest, most cosmic, coldest edition of the Destiny Community Podcast. Holtz, welcome back.
Hello. Or do I need to do like the
life?
Varix voice?
How's it
Do I need to do the
going?
Varix voice?
can
I've
we
heard
get-
he.
We just
You do. People
let's
are
catch up.
asking.
Let's catch up with what's going on.
okay.
We
How's
need
it
insect-like
going?
chattering noises.
Yeah, we do need that as well.
The predator sound.
You got the predator thing, man. It's fantastic.
It has been a long time since I have seen you all.
Yes.
Yes.
How's things, Holtz? How's
I'm doing good, grinding away at my current job at Poorly Timed Games, making a kick-ass game.
awesome?
I thought you were gonna say Destiny. You're grinding
and
away. That was surprising.
what was that?
Grinding away at
You said I'm grinding away at. I thought you were gonna say Destiny, and then real life.
No.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna come out and say it right here. I have not actually booted up Destiny.
Since when?
Since
long?
Beyond Light came out. I played the day before. I played I played the day that the servers went down.
You saw the event,
and,
right?
no.
Didn't see the event. Okay.
No.
No.
You logged in. You were like, "I'm gonna be a hipster and not go see the event."
I tried to log in.
They
couldn't make it in.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Briar,
you
you're
have
doing the
played
thing
Beyond
again.
Light. You just haven't played the retail version of Beyond
Yeah,
Light.
yeah, exactly. Like I've
Yeah.
I've played a bunch of Beyond Light. I worked on Beyond Light, but not like the campaign of Beyond Light. I instead of like working on that, I got put on the New Light experience. So I was one of the testers on the New Light experience, and I was very excited to join that project and work on it. And I've been tooling around the Twitch streams since Beyond Light came out, looking for people that are either A, on the Cosmodrome, or B, doing the New Light experience, and just hanging out in their chats, saying hi. Sometimes
That's really cool.
Sometimes just lurking.
So you got to hang out with Shawhan quite a bit then.
Yeah. I got to hang out. With
Do you
him
like
quite a
him?
bit. Do I like Shaw?
You mean Paul Tassi?
Yeah, I like Shaw. Shaw's cool. He's
Has he grown?
he's just there. Lost his fire team. You need to help him out some.
Oh, he's like a blueberry that you're helping out.
He's a lost little boy.
No,
He's
he's
a
pretty
blueberry.
he's pretty experienced. I think the rest of his fire team were probably blueberries. They died super easy.
Okay.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yeah.
Wait,
Uh,
were you there when that happened?
Did you do it?
for one of them? You're there. Have you guys not played the New Light experience? I'm just sitting here spoiling the
haven't.
entire
I've
story.
actually
There-
haven't.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
I know you didn't play all the campaign stuff as much, but there's a lot out
There's
there to do before we go.
There's
through
a lot
it.
of grind.
There is.
Well,
to
Yeah,
do.
and also before you get all to that stuff in the Destiny universe, there was a new console that just came out today as well, with the whole slew
The
of
second
things.
one this week.
The second console of the next gen.
Let me tell you.
finally came out today.
Let me tell you my experience today. I have a little story time for you.
Oh, yeah?
Story
Totally
time with
Destiny
Watts.
related.
Pull up a
Gather
chair.
around here.
So PS5 gets here. Me, I'm like, yeah, cool, great, awesome.
Mhm.
I hook up my PS4 to my Go XLR with an
Mhm.
optical cable because that's how you have
yeah.
to hook up.
No, you don't.
Not with the PS5.
So PS5 gets here. I'm like, I didn't even think about this
There it is.
because when I set stuff up, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to think about it because if I do, it's gonna break. So I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Have you
so it gets
fixed
here-
your mic? Oh yeah, you have changed your mic setup since I came there
Yes,
and
I have.
gave you a new mic setup.
It's into the Go XLR, so everything is
Okay.
in the Go XLR.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, So then I realized I have to go get an HDMI audio converter to
Mhm.
set all of that up. So now there's like a whole new thing. You've got stuff going into the capture card, into the audio converter, into the But the funny thing was, I was like, where can I get this? Let me just check Best Buy. If they have it, that'll be easy. I can drive to one. It will be great. They had
Mhm.
two.
They did.
Oh,
They had two. Yeah. So I go there. I buy one. I come home. It's just the actual converter device. There's no cables. There's no power adapter. There's nothing.
no
It's just
power
a
either.
shell.
I'm shocked
No
they even
power
had
adapter.
it.
no power adapter.
Wait, no
So-
power. adapter.
That's weird that they didn't even have a power adapter in there.
I can't use the power. So I can't use it without power adapter. The other cables, whatever, fine, don't need them. But I
Is
do
it
need the power
USB
adapter.
power.
No, it's plug in like
It's one of the
actual
DC
power.
DC outlets.
Barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kidding.
So I have to go back to Best Buy, tell them, hey, I kind of need a power adapter. It's a little important. They take it, they're doing the thing, and they give me the other one, which is the one of two that they have. And I walk out. Turns out they gave me the same one back. So it still doesn't have a power adapter.
Oh man.
So like, guys, please just give me a power adapter. You don't have to give me the other converter. Just give me a power adapter. Somebody, please. So I finally got one after all of that. Came home, had to do a complete resetup of everything.
So you were chasing
You were
power
laughing
in
at me
real
when I was
life.
telling you I was doing this a month ago.
I should have done it a month ago.
I've got
What?
a pretty good PS5 story too. I got an email today from Walmart saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Your PS5 has been delayed due to like massive quantities of orders. So sorry." Luckily, I got one from GameStop as well. So I doubled up. I had no problems here. The one shows up from GameStop. 10 minutes later, the same FedEx guy comes back and says, "Oh, you've got another package here." And it's the one from Walmart. I checked my credit card statement. They didn't charge me for a PS5. I think I might have gotten a free PS5.
Briar, we were just
Don't
talking about
tell
how
the
I didn't
man
get one,
about
so-
it.
Come on.
Walmart's watching. They're gonna be
Yeah.
like, oh,
Sorry.
You know, Great Value is going to be coming knocking on that door in the next week, being like we heard on a podcast through AI.
Sam Walmart himself.
Mhm. I'm gonna get up out of his grave.
Walmart.
that's a
Samuel
significantly
Walmart.
more fun story than mine.
Watts,
Yeah.
your story is why you need to be sure to go to Astro Gaming and pick up your own HDMI to the converter thing. Use code
HDMI the
Holtz.
converter thing.
They're giving
Yeah,
those away for
they-
free,
they-
right? Or are they charging?
I have no
You
idea.
You can buy them. They said
Oh,
they're gonna
okay.
have a consistent stock of them. So I hope they do. Cause yeah, you need that for your mix amp. Like there's so many things
Mhm.
that use the optical cable. So yeah.
Wait,
you're gonna
did
need
you
one of
get
those.
an extractor that has optical out?
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
this-
shocked
HDMI
they have
in,
that at Best Buy.
optical out.
yeah.
Well, they
that's
were
interesting.
both used and only two. So
Right.
someone was like, I don't
But-
need this. I'm gonna take it to Best
Yeah.
Buy.
By the way, sometimes TVs or for people out there, TVs or surround speaker bars have
Mhm.
that
Yes.
built
Yeah.
in.
Mhm.
Sometimes, if
Sometimes.
you're doing HDMI 2.1 TVs, may or may not work out. But
Yeah.
worth a look for some folks out there who are like, "Oh crap, I got to do the same thing."
Yeah. So did everybody get a PS5
That's
except
bad.
for Holtz?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So Briar has Holtz's PS5.
That's it for Holtz on the show.
right.
Yeah, Briar, give me.
That's how it works.
Why are you holding out?
He stole
I'll give
it.
it to you for $1,000.
I'll trade you
That's-
some keyboards.
That's the friend rate.
That's true. You could get a lot more than for that.
Oh man.
I got an Xbox Series X and I got a PS5. I gotta say, I've been having a lot of fun with both of them. Checked out Destiny Beyond Light, the Xbox, and I was pretty happy with how fast it loaded, like how responsive it was.
Mm.
You know, it's still
And
the old version of the game. The new like next gen version of the game isn't coming out till December.
Mhm.
But like loading fast, getting into my inventory fast, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Really, really easy.
Yeah, and it still plays between whether you're on PS5 or PS4. It'll still do cross play on that, I believe, right now. But I was curious. It really it locks it at 30 frames still. There was no.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's an engine
I mean,
setting.
That
I
patch
knew either
hasn't
way,
come
but
through yet.
Yeah, that's an engine
It's just
setting.
gotta.
Otherwise,
I would have rather. Yeah.
the PS4 Pro would definitely go up and down if it wasn't locked. You know,
Right.
in certain
Yeah,
areas
exactly.
it'd be
They
like
just
up at
left it.
40 or 50 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I don't have to play on console, but I almost would have liked to have a mode of try your luck. Maybe it's
like playing on
maybe Crucible
console.
runs great at 60 now, but maybe
Crucible's gonna
campaign
be
had more.
120, Mr. Fred
Yes.
Berber.
Well, I know
is
that,
huge
but that's
news.
later.
It's
I
like,
do-
Let's talk about
I
it.
do still like playing on console though. Like I like the couch experience, feet up on the coffee table, controller in my hands. Like I still like that experience. And now, with the next gen versions coming out, like that's gonna be a really nice FPS, 120 in the Crucible. That's
Mhm.
dope.
I got a question for you, Briar. You have both consoles. Which controller do you like the most right now?
I like them both. The new Xbox, it's small improvements over the old one, but it does feel like nice and premium. But the PS5 controller is like, it does like brand new stuff. It feels like a next gen kind of controller.
Feels
right?
next gen, right?
Yeah.
The adaptive triggers, the force feedback triggers, and the HD rumble kind of like Chaz. It's just so comfortable too. Like I thought the PS4 controller was really comfortable. This is next level. It's heavy though.
Yeah. It feels really good. I like it a lot. I'm looking forward to. Actually, has there been any confirmation of Bungie developing haptic feedback for this controller?
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah,
No
I don't
idea.
know. I wasn't sure if they've mentioned it or if they were talking about
That'd
it.
be amazing.
Right? Wouldn't that be amazing if you could be like, oh, this is an SMG. This is a sniper rifle that I'm feeling. Like, oh, it's to feel the pellets of the shotgun releasing from the controller. Like, that would be amazing.
Or you can hear the trigger like fire, feel the trigger fire. Kevin.
You can, yeah, based on the archetype of gun. That would be amazing.
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Sounds
would
like
love
so
if they
much
do that.
work.
Yeah,
Sounds
I
like
was
so
gonna
much
say,
work for
given the
developers.
fact that-
It sounds like so much work.
right?
We don't have to worry about that.
Briar, your audio is
That's not our job.
your audio is definitely devolving further. Unfortunately, I don't know if you could do what you
is,
did
man.
last week to
he
fix it.
he kind of sounds like Aramis now. So
Yeah, you're getting some Aramis clickety
he's got that
things.
very like.
Maybe that's
What
good
what-
then.
Briar, what have you been doing? Oh, he's gone.
What if I just
I was
turn
like,
off my camera? Does that make
Still
it
hear
better?
the clicking.
No,
Yeah, unfortunately.
insect-like chatter is
Or
still
Briar.
Yeah.
very much present.
Now there's two of
This
me
is
on the
just
screen.
I
Discord.
kind of like double
do
tapping.
not
It
know
looks
how to
good.
fix it.
Should he rejoin real fast? Just
If
to
you
double
can,
tap?
Brian. What if you did last week? You fixed it and then it stopped doing the clicks for that much time. But as it is now, it's definitely doing it.
And this just makes it easier with your camera off for you to pretend that you're not playing Gonfo.
We just hear the like PlayStation clicking in the background.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me go. 4 right there.
I'm grinding some
We're having a little
very
technical
icy
difficulties
stuff
here.
right now too.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah.
Grinding what, Holtz?
Some very cold, icy stuff right now as well.
Mm.
You deep?
He's playing with waifus. Are you playing with waifus?
Yes,
thought you
I'm
were gonna
playing
say
with
Assassin's
waifus
Creed.
right now.
Oh
playing
my
with
god.
The good old
right
days.
now.
Everyone
I
was
just-
always playing video games like while
Yeah.
doing the podcast. As long as you're doing stuff like collecting, grabbing flowers, opening chests, that doesn't involve your brain. You're just
Mhm.
mindlessly running.
I'm
around.
using Dialog in Genshin Impact. It doesn't involve my brain at all.
It's true.
So
We need to get Briar back. This is going off the rails.
I know, right? I want to talk 120 FPS for the Crucible.
Let's
like-
do it.
Like, I think this is something that we've been saying. Like, man, why don't they just make the Crucible 60 FPS, and it's okay that the rest of the game is 30 FPS for the PS4 and the Xbox. And the biggest argument was that, well, they want a continuity between the experience. You didn't want to go into
Right.
the Crucible and suddenly like things feel different because of 60 FPS. But now we're getting 120 FPS for consoles, both the Series X, actually I guess Series S as well, and the PS5, right?
I don't know if they said the S because I'd be surprised.
Well, the S can go
Yes.
120 on 1080p.
It can, but I'd be surprised if it.
It's the
if it
same
hits it,
CPU,
but-
so I wouldn't be surprised if it like hits those targets as well.
Maybe.
Because like
I didn't know if they said it.
the-
That was
the
all. I'm
Crucible-
not arguing.
I'd be surprised if it wasn't that way. The Crucible is obviously going to be less CPU intensive. There's less physics
Right.
calculations,
There's less
all that.
things going on.
Yeah, less environmental things that they have to calculate on that. So that's amazing.
But it is super exciting.
That's like that's a change of pace for them
big
for what
deal.
they've done in the past, right?
Yeah, I mean when I heard it too, I was like, wow, this is almost like it's a TV seller. There's a lot of people that don't have that setup yet. Hey, Briar's back.
Briar's back.
What was that? What were you sipping on there? It looked pretty tasty.
Hey,
Now we know what he was doing off camera.
Yeah. We were just talking
Sounds good.
120 FPS. It's crazy that it's finally happening where they're allowing frame rate disparity to occur between different modes. And I was saying that like we've been asking for this for a long time, how like just make it different for the Crucible, and they finally did it. We can do like 120 in the Crucible.
is this a big enough deal for you guys to buy a new TV?
I mean,
I-
my
Play it on my
monitor
monitor.
already supports it. So
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah,
at
exactly.
100,
Yeah, but TV.
1080 or 140, 1440.
If I played a ton of Crucible and played on my TV, then yes. Personally, for me, I don't spend enough time on the TV playing games, so it's my monitor for sure, though.
Yeah, if I was
Well, you
buying
guys-
a new TV for knowing that I was going to play games on the future as well, I would definitely go for a future-proof 4K 120 if I was in the market right now for a new TV.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a
Yeah.
lot of games that do it, and
Yeah.
maybe there's some new mode. Who knows? Like, I don't think Gambit's going to be there.
Okay.
But
You guys all have the
could
new
happen.
consoles, right?
Yes.
Yes.
just PS5 here, but yeah.
PS5. Okay.
Do any of them support ultra wide resolution?
No.
Ooh. Oh.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know that they allow
I
any
don't
of that.
know.
Right?
They don't
That'd
even
be awesome,
support
though.
1440 Holtz.
The Xbox does.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Wait, 1440 or ultra wide?
1440.
Yeah, okay.
1440.
I'm just sitting over here with my very nice ultra wide monitor, and
Yeah. It's a different
you know,
league.
come on, Microsoft, Sony, sell me. Like this is the future right here. Ultra wide.
But TV, that's the problem. Though. Like, consoles are so geared to TV, right? And TVs aren't ultra wide. Monitors are, though. And
Okay,
but I
so
agree
we'll
with
just
you.
we'll just get some TV manufacturers to start making ultra wide TVs.
We
Yeah, I was
need
gonna say,
there,
I-
yeah.
we need
but
more
people-
movies.
I mean, I would
released.
buy an ultra wide TV. Let me
I
tell
would.
you.
We need more
That
movies
sounds-
released in 2-to-1 ratio, aspect ratio.
Yeah, 21 by
Right.
21 by 9.
Yeah.
I would absolutely buy that TV.
Hell yeah, me too. That sounds
It
like
sounds like a
a
good
great-
idea.
As long as like Netflix and Apple TV and like the streaming services
Ooh.
supported it,
Yeah.
I'd be all over it.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I was gonna say some people like you though, Holtz. You do have the console or do you? You don't have the console yet, but you have the monitor. And if you were to get the console, I do think they should come up with ways to support that. Like,
I could
HDMI
plug my
2.1 should be able to do it, no
PlayStation.
problem.
Yeah, I can plug my PlayStation in. It's just it gives me black bars on the side, which that means I'm only using like 2/3 of my monitor then, which is
Jesus.
just
That
Yeah.
is a
what are we
travesty.
doing here? What are we
Both-
doing here?
Both new consoles will utilize the 1080p high refresh console or TV monitor, right? They'll both work on that, no problem. And they'll both work on a 1440p monitor, no problem. PlayStation will only output 1080p, but you still get the benefit of the high refresh, which is frankly more important. And then I wouldn't be surprised if PlayStation down the road, like, adds that. But
1440?
how many? Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Um,
It's kind of weird that they don't
'cause,
support it.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It must, because
Like,
does the HDMI standard port that?
it
1440?
should, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it should.
1440 high refresh.
It's more about. So wait, you're saying if
Yeah.
I haven't hooked up my PlayStation yet, you're saying that if you had an HDMI monitor that supports
Yeah.
1440p,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
can't set your PlayStation 5 to that. It
No.
won't detect it.
No,
and
it will
do
not. It will not set to 1440p. And to be clear, because
So it stays in
at that
1080.
point you're using a monitor that does not have HDMI 2.1. So does HDMI 2.0 or earlier support 40p high?
Yeah, it
the higher-
should. I mean, there's no
Well,
reason.
it'll
bandwidth-wise why it
definitely-
couldn't, but
Yeah, it'll definitely do 1440
it's just the
60.
frame rate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
1440 60, no problem. So most games, you're probably going to be doing 60 FPS. And then there's the few, Crucible games and stuff that are going to support 120.
Yeah.
The important thing though is that no matter what you're gaming on, you'll be able to enjoy Beyond Light.
That's right.
How's that for a segue?
Bringing it back home.
I like
was just
it.
talking about
That's
how
what
much
we
you
need.
were-
Patrick.
Like the iPad Pro, right, Teft? You were raving about. I mean,
No, we're
Zesty on
we're
it.
not a tech podcast, guys. Come on.
I was
you
saying
said anywhere.
that my 2018 iPad Pro can handle like 4 streams of 4K footage that are H.264 compressed from a Sony A6400 camera.
Doesn't sound like a tech podcast to me. I think
Not
you
at
gotcha.
all, right?
I think we're clear
Holtz.
here.
I think he got you.
You guys want to talk mics for a while?
Yes.
To be fair, let's
I
bring
love
that. Holtz,
microphones.
you brought up ultra wide, and I gotta say, is
Because
it
we were
Holtz's
talking
fault?
about tech stuff.
You see, so it's your fault. You
He's
admit
trying to fit in.
No, he was trying to say
I
the
know,
reason.
something to
No, he was
say.
trying to say the reason why the console 120 hertz experience was a no go for him because he is in the future living on the ultra wide lifestyle.
Yeah,
But-
and speaking of experiences, here's what I want to hear about the Beyond Light experience you have
I'll
all
tell
had.
you. What,
This is
before
two killer segues. You
real
guys
quick,
are
I like that
shitting all over
before
it.
Before
Can we get
go
that
on
one
to
more
Beyond
time
Light,
with a little more energy at the end of the sentence?
before we move on to Beyond Light,
Perfect.
I do want to talk about the PlayStation Pro or the PlayStation 5 because it is it's surprisingly huge, even though you know it's going to be big when you've seen it, right? You've
It's
seen
true.
how big it is, and then you take it out of the box and you're like, oh god damn, that thing's huge.
It's
Clip it.
chonky.
Clip it.
It is. It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
thing.
anyhow, go
You've
ahead.
It's
seen
almost
it,
this.
you
It's
knew it was
almost
gonna
the
be
same
huge.
height as my
Bigger than you.
computer.
Yeah, it's like
Very
a mini
close.
computer.
I had to remove all the
Yes.
glass shelves in my like AV cabinet because it wouldn't fit sideways. It could only fit in vertically. All right,
It's
Beyond
exciting,
Light.
though. It is exciting.
Beyond Light.
Where do
I'm
we
gonna
start?
say.
God,
Well,
such
we
a
could
weird
start with the
segment.
beginning, right? The beginning, the story. Or first,
Stranger.
what you do at the beginning, you do the story. Story was so good. You know, I loved it. The writing was great. We had cutscenes. Our character talked right at the beginning, and
Yeah, we had a
looked
conversation.
gorgeous doing it. It was
Yeah.
amazing. And going through the story, it's been really good. I love all of the boss fights. I think they're all super cool. I will say, I think during the Beyond Light campaign, I learned more about the Fallen within Destiny than I have in any period in Destiny ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
agree
yes, there's
100%.
lore. There's lore that you can read outside of the game, but actually inside the game, I learned more in that story campaign than I have in all these years.
Yeah, a lot of nuance, right?
Totally
of the
agree.
Fallen and Elixni and like their values and the principles and why Aramis is becoming like trying to break free from like these thoughts and why they're mad at the
Yeah.
Traveler, feeling like forsaken from the Traveler's light. How the Traveler's just
Yeah,
like,
they showed us like little
Yeah.
fallen babies and they were
Yeah.
crying and the Traveler's like, peace.
yeah,
It
it
was
was like,
very-
bye, bitches.
It was
You're not
it
chosen
was
no
really
more.
great. It was really great.
I feel
to
like
learn
they
more
set a
about them.
countdown timer to how long it's going to be till the Traveler tries to take off from here.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah,
leave
it-
us.
it-
we
that-
had the last or right before the DLC hit, we had the little kind of special event where the
Yeah,
Traveler
we
like
did.
repaired itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Preparing, getting ready to leave. You can't
Yeah.
leave if you're
Close
broken.
Packing its
fist.
bags.
It was gonna go buy
Yeah.
some smokes.
That's right. Yeah, I will say I did feel that in the story too. I had the same thought. I was like, are they preparing us for the darkest of times with that comment
Yeah.
that you get in the middle of the story? And I felt like it's possible. Will we will we be abandoned at any point? And that could get really interesting, but also I don't know. how
I
to
definitely
work
think it's
without
foreshadowing
there.
towards that and leading to it. It's like the Traveler has been running from the darkness for its existence, right? And it's probably going to keep on right now we have the darkness, right? We've embraced the darkness at this point. If spoilers, obviously, if you haven't played the game.
Spoilers, there's stasis.
Spoilers,
It's
Stasis
dark.
is a darkness subclass.
Cosmic ice.
We are officially part of the darkness now. We've embraced it. We had that moment where we were like, oh crap, the darkness is in me. I can do this without your stuff, you know? And like the Traveler is maybe the Traveler was trying to groom us and is like, all right, you did it.
That's a word.
I don't know. Our ghost not on board.
I would say I love the progression
Val's
of
not
the
on board.
ghost, though. I love the progression of the ghost because the ghost was like, ooh, I really don't like this. I'm feeling very disconnected from you. And then next thing you know, he's doing impersonations of the Drifter.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was great.
And he gets like sassier. He's like, guys, we got this. I believe in you, Guardian. Look at you holding that darkness.
Yeah.
And
Wielding
now
the
he's
darkness?
feeling good. It almost feels like the ghost is coming into his own and like what it means for who he is instead of just being like some instrument of the light. It seems like he's kind of learning like, oh, this is who I am, and I can kind of be my own ghost. I don't have to be like all the other ghosts.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool. I like that.
Yeah,
a lot.
actually kind of
That's
a
what
lot.
all the ghosts say. I'm not like the other ghost.
I think it's kind of a lot like our journey as well. You know, we think of like the ghost as the
Yeah.
one who's basically a conduit between the Traveler and us and giving us light and kind of being like a courier pigeon of light and knowledge of what happened. And really, like the ghost is kind of on its own journey as well. And maybe that's part of it. It's parallel paths. And maybe the ghost can realize it doesn't actually need to be fully connected all the time to the Traveler. I guess what I'm saying about the grooming thing is that maybe the Traveler was like, all right, you're grown up Guardians now. I can go to another place leave you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's gonna happen
I
in
don't think it's that
Lightfall, right?
intentional.
It's gonna happen. We're gonna get 3 total darkness subclasses. Then Traveler's gonna peace out.
Lightfall
I don't know.
is
I
2
feel
years
like
from now.
I don't know if Traveler pieces out. It's always anything's possible, but I feel like it could get to its dimmest of times. You know, we're seeing it like strengthening up right now to try to do its best to protect us. But for it to be totally gone, I mean, when your ghost would have to embrace darkness without the Traveler, right? It'd be gone.
You see, you
Right.
embraced
You'd have no
darkness in the campaign without the help of other stuff. So in fact, the light and the dark was in you the whole time. Type of concept. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they what they showed was that you could maybe handle more than just the light, is what they were teaching us, I guess. Yeah, that it didn't mean that it was I mean, it's still a question. It seemed to be suggesting maybe it's not so bad, but it all we'll see. We're just starting to experiment.
Yeah, the
I will
forces of
say-
evil are still like things that are kind of, they're not directly the darkness specifically of what we've been fighting.
Yeah.
It's people or things or enemies making bad decisions and trying to inflict pain upon other people.
It's kind of an interesting message because it's kind of like the stranger's always saying that she's been trying to shield people from the darkness, and actually maybe the route is that we get people to embrace it so that it can't do bad things to us. And I really like that commentary because it's kind of a commentary on real life, right? Where if you just try and ignore the bad parts of yourself, it ends up consuming you and taking over. Whereas if you just get to know it, embrace it, and understand it, it's less likely to consume you and do harm. So I really like that as well. That was cool.
Yeah.
I think damn it, I had a thought there. I swear I had one. I swear, this is part of the course for me. Anyway,
It's funny. You were trying to interject a few times, and then that's how it always goes.
We need to
That's
let
always
Patrick
goes,
talk
yeah.
before he forgets it. We gotta be like,
yeah,
Patrick, don't
I got my pen and paper here. I just need to remember to actually write down what my
notes,
thought is.
Yeah, we kind of got off on lore, but I like when Watts, you started with just sort of the overall commentary of it. Sounds like you really enjoyed it. You felt stronger bosses, stronger story. What's the reference point with that too? Do you have like how does it feel versus Forsaken or the other favorites for you right now? It's only day
I don't know.
2 or
I
3,
think it's up there. It's up there because of me learning about the Fallen, which is really nice. Because a lot of the time a lot of the enemies have just been, they're bad guys. Why are they bad guys? I don't know, because we said they're bad guys. But actually learning who they are and where they're from and all of that has really made me feel more connected to the world, which is really important in these kind of games. And it's important for what Bungie wants to do with the ever-evolving world stuff. We need to feel connected to it.
Oh, I remember. I remember now.
Oh, go.
I remember now. It's like, look, remember back in Rise of Iron when we heard about like how the original Iron Lords were like warlords, and some of them were pretty bad people, and clearly there have been bad guardians. So it's not necessarily that, just because someone has the light in them, that means that they're good. It's like, okay, does that also mean that maybe if someone wields the darkness, that doesn't mean that they can be bad?
Doesn't mean
Look
they're
at
bad.
Zavala. He's definitely up to some shady shit.
Zavala said, don't use that darkness again. I tell you, I'm warning you. Don't do it again. Don't do it. And meanwhile, I've been doing it the entire time.
I was saying that I bet there's some like Zavala like hardcore fans that got that line of dialogue and were like, all right, I'm never using Stasis again. Ever.
Yeah.
Zavala's not happy.
I am hardcore about my allegiance towards Zavala. I shall never touch the Stasis.
Zavala's like one of those like helicopter bombs. He's always telling you what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
Shut up. Leave me alone.
No, but you're absolutely right, Holtz. You like that's the concept. Is like there's been guardians who were brought up from the light who've done some bad stuff. And technically we've done some bad stuff. We've killed a lot of aliens.
Lots of bad stuff.
In fact, we're on
the Forsaken storyline is like it's hinting at that pretty hard.
Exactly. Like we go, you just look at Europa right now, and like Varix is like, hey, there's a lot of Elixni that kind of need to be ushered out of here and like saved from this this dictator, this strong.
And we're like sitting there cocking our gun. Like,
they're saved. Like, really, you got to escort him out of this life, huh?
Yeah, that kind of hit me harder than any other point in Destiny when I was playing, and I was just running around like going pew shank, pew dragon. I was like, I'm just over here just slaying these people just for no real reason. Why am I? I don't really know. I'm in their homeland. Like, what am I doing?
Right?
It really
sometimes
hit
they're
me.
like fighting off.
You killed
the
Tommy.
and
He was on a basketball
scholarship.
scholarship. He was going to college. fucked up his whole life.
Yeah,
Poor Tommy.
they're doing their thing. They're like playing in the Radiolarian pudding, and then we just come up and blast them in the face. And they're like, wasn't Varric saying he wanted to save as many of these guys as possible?
Yeah,
we're
I know,
just
right?
murdering them.
Get them to the ship. Get them out. Save all the fallen. Save them from
Yeah.
Aramis. And we're like, yeah, sure.
Big sure.
Yeah, save him.
Sure, Varric. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll save like 2, maybe.
My KD.
I like
bro.
that Varric's like we haven't 100% forgiven Varric's, but like we're still working with him. I like that there's depth to that relationship too.
Mhm.
Yes. Same.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that too.
Yeah, he's sort of on notice right now.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
all right.
So, I would definitely want to talk about some more lore stuff and the story and Elsie Bray, the stranger,
Mm.
because I think this
I wanted
is
to talk
super.
about gameplay still.
I definitely want to
But I
talk
don't
about
have to
gameplay,
right now.
definitely.
As
But
long as I
like,
can come back to it.
obviously, we want to talk about gameplay. But I think the whole storyline with her coming in and confirming, talking about she's from a different timeline, and in her timeline, the darkness fully took over and it was awful. And she was like, I need to not let that happen in this timeline and see how different things have happened. That was really cool to see unfold and hear her story from it, especially being a D1 veteran. Like getting to hear that side and be like, yeah, whatever happened to the stranger? I mean, talk about a meme, no time to explain what the, and then finally having
That's
it come
why she
forward.
couldn't explain. She had to. All sorts of bad stuff was happening in her timeline. She didn't
Yeah.
have time to explain stuff to us. I get it.
Yeah, and like this whole time traveling technology from the Bray technology, all that
Dr.
stuff.
Clovis.
Yeah,
Oh,
her
learning more about Clovis.
Yeah, how evil he was, or like how hellbent he was on making some really poor decisions for humanity. It's really cool. I think they
I
did a
won't
great
talk
job with
about
that.
it this week, but there is a gun from the raid that has some lore on it, which has some
Mhm.
big implications. So when that comes out, maybe we can get a lore master back on to talk about how big that is. But if you want to find out about it, just look at the raid guns. Don't
Yeah.
look at the lore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't looked into any of that yet. I've been
Okay, so
blind.
here's a good segue from that discussion towards some gameplay. The no time to explain gun. I did not think I was going to be thrilled about this exotic because I was like, I don't know. And then I got it, and then I started blasting. And man, Portal Buddy is awesome.
And then I started blasting.
Unless you're
And
trying
then
to
that
do,
started blasting.
unless you're trying to do melee bounty, then it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's bad for
Which
sure.
gun?
Swap out.
Then it goes away.
Don't use Portal Buddy then. That
It
gun
also
is
is
fantastic.
just a really solid pulse rifle. Like it's just a
Yeah.
solid
Yeah.
gun. It feels really good. It performs really well, and Portal Buddy's great. I have nothing bad to say about that gun.
Yeah, I like Portal Buddy.
It's great.
It quickly
Yeah.
became one of my favorite exotics. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I was hoping to have a little commentary on the main campaign, if I can.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, no.
Fran, not allowed.
Well, I know. I just didn't want.
No,
I'm
I
gonna
know
go
I'm
off
not
for a
allowed.
second.
I just want to give my.
I was still thinking about what Watts had said, and yeah, for me, the campaign really stood out as I don't know. It was in a way it was more the same, but it was more polished in almost all regards. And I am very curious to hear how you guys played it. I fought tooth and nail to play it without having to bounce out, to do strikes, to do patrol as much as I could, which was almost nothing. I tried. And so first of all, it's kind of solo. It kind of hurt a little bit. I was like, wow, it seems like a little fire team tuned, but also it put me in a position where I had to like really step back. If I wanted to keep doing this and not hop out and level up in a strike or something, to put on my mods and stuff like that. And it felt like it really came together for me in that sense. It was the first time in the middle of a story, I got my butt kicked by a boss. I was like, geez, like I better pop on a few things, and getting some health regen and getting my resilience up. And so I thought that was really good. And I also really felt like I noticed, and also curious what you guys think, but it seemed like there were fewer bosses throughout the story. I don't know if that's factual. It felt that way, but they felt more meaningful. The fights felt more fun, and of course, it was letting you use stasis throughout. But I thought it was really well balanced. It had a good amount of lore, and it always sent you back as well. So it felt like I always knew what I was doing. Where I feel like some of the past campaigns, you're like, wait, I don't know, let me check my quest. But this felt like it did a good job of like you always knew where you were at. So
Yeah,
I really
thought the
they did a
pacing-
great job with it.
I thought the pacing was great. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It
Mhm.
was like I didn't do any leveling. Like I basically just went straight for the stuff that I had to do all the way through. And there were a few fights that was like, oh, I have to pay attention here. I can't just like
Yeah.
mindless Destiny it. And that was great. I always really enjoy Destiny when blue items are like candy. You're excited to see a blue drop, and the enemies are actually a challenge because it makes it fun. As soon as you can just blast through them super quick, it becomes like, I can just look at chat and not worry about what I'm actually aiming at.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I looked at chat while jumping, got frozen, and freaking fell to my death. So I can't do that.
Yes, I did that exactly.
Yeah, I really love that. I loved the challenge level of the campaign. It wasn't impossible. It wasn't incredibly difficult where I was like, gotta grab some friends, but it was, you had to actually think about it. You had to dodge stuff. You had to use cover. And I really enjoyed that difficulty level for the campaign. It made
I
it
definitely
more
had to
enjoyable.
stop playing the campaign. I was not max level going into this. And I think by the time I hit first boss, I was 30 something below level.
Yeah.
And I was just getting moped. So I went to the EDZ and I used the new loot kit. Got some quick levels. Took me an hour and then I was back into it.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a new loot cave?
It was
They
patched
already
very
fixed it.
quickly.
Oh, they already fixed
It was
Man.
They patched
Widow's
a few.
Walk, Patrick. Widow's Walk,
it was
Lost
just-
Sector.
It was just up to soft cap, like 1,200 or whatever, right? So it was.
People
Man.
were
Oh,
able
it
to
wasn't
get
a power
all
cap?
3 of their characters to 1,200 in like 2 hours.
That's that good shit.
It was
funny that
it was a good loot cave.
yeah, it's funny that this is just personal. I do not like. That's why I talk about power per hour so much, but I don't want to do that. It's kind of become a part of Destiny, is roaming around doing patrols and looking for spin metal, right? And like, I actually don't find that fun. I think that the stigma of the game is also that, and I think that the sign of hopefully, a good designed campaign, the starter getting up to 1,200 should be like, look, I'm just doing the quests. I did the story. Maybe you bounce out for 1 or 2 things that it sends you into the fray for a little bit, but it shouldn't make you feel like you got to like go grind. But for speedrunners to power and, people want to get into like master level loot caves and start getting stuff, that's different. Of course, you're going to do anything you can, but I personally have been avoiding it, believe it or not. Everybody kept coming in like, are you farming? You just try. I'm like, absolutely not.
I didn't do any of that
I'm playing
either.
the story.
The campaign was
I'm
so
playing
good at the
campaign.
level you were at.
Quests.
I really enjoyed it. If I had over leveled for it, I wouldn't have enjoyed the campaign as
Same, yeah.
much. I totally understand if you've played it and you're like, this is tough, I want to get some levels. But if you were going through it and it felt like a good challenge, you died a couple times on a boss, that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
when they're
It's
all
the same in
swords.
getting to 1,200.
When they're all swords, it's almost like it's mini raid experience,
Yeah.
because they're all
Totally,
swords.
yeah, totally.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And you have to actually
So I think
work at it for the boss.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think for experienced players, it comes off as nice. It's challenging, but we've got a lot of years under our belt, 6 years or whatever. For new players coming in, and by the way, if you don't own Beyond Light, you actually can play the first mission, which I didn't realize
You
that. I was
can.
like, oh, that's awesome.
You could do the same in Shadowkeep.
Yeah, that's what I was.
It introduces you to the zone,
I didn't
right?
realize.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice first mission. But I do think for new players, and I think it's a lot of people are gonna have to like step out and level up, and that's fine. But personally,
They could upgrade their gaming chair.
upgrade your gaming chair, exactly. Well, you got to get that monitor ultra wide upgrade, and then you're set.
I think that's what they're missing.
But anyway, yeah, I thought that was great, and even after the campaign ends, immediately, right, I was interested in leveling up, Varric's sabotage stuff, and I was like, wait, I got Stasis stuff to do, and the things that you do have more lore. There was some patrolling in there, but on a new planet, you start to realize all these things are like, this is the difference. It's a brand new place. It's gorgeous. It's got a weather system. These quests have more meaning because I'm still invested in a post-game lore of like, well, we beat this thing, but now Varric's is saying we got to do this. And so it all is really nice post-game, I think. Leveling to 1230 for the raid, I think we'll see how that feels. But I honestly do not want to we'll talk about Crucible later, but I don't want to have to grind Crucible. I don't want to have to grind Gambit. I don't want to have to grind, the inverted spire, beginning or whatever. I'm hoping to just do the quest.
Something.
I know. I'm gonna have to grind comp for power probably, but for now,
but like
my point.
you bring up a great point, and when there's a new destination and new things to do, then doing the Destiny grind loop is interesting and fun. When your power grind is going to the exact same places that you've already been to for a couple of years and doing that content over, then it becomes exhausting and fatiguing. Europa is a beautiful location, incredibly designed, and it makes me feel like it makes me think of a D1 location that's been brought into the D2 universe and given the D2
Reminds me of
treatment.
Mars a lot.
Yeah, it's like Mars
From
meets
D1.
Moon.
Yeah,
Feels very Moon to me as well.
Yeah.
Because it is a moon, but
yeah. it just like the D1 the landscape type of flow. There's a certain flow that D1 had, like the way you could go with your sparrows. And I felt like
Yeah.
this harkens back to that quite heavily, and it's big. There's a lot of stuff
it's
in there.
sprawling. You're right. No, you are right. It's not as like there's a lot of you think about whatever like IO and S. There's a lot of like tall things that are constantly shrouding above you or whatever. But this is very wide open, so you see far, and the snowstorms are so cool. They did such a good job of like you're on this huge sprawling landscape, and then this huge snowstorm comes in. You can't see getting blown off, but then the lights and the fallen ships like really glow through with this J.J. Abrams like lens
I
flare,
love
and
it.
Yeah,
adds so much like texture. So
It's
far
great.
I was worried it was going to be like maybe too much and too not natural feeling, but it feels really
Yeah.
cool.
And then
Sometimes I
there's-
actually get lost and it's not frustrating.
and then there's that one asshole enforcer brig that shows up and launches
Yeah.
rockets on you. You're like,
One
bud,
shot you, and you're like,
you're
Yes.
freaking question marks. Quit fighting me.
Yeah. There's a sniper that does that too. Though, what just killed me? Like
Yeah.
one shots me.
can
Have
we?
you guys
I-
been
yeah.
finding a lot of secrets and like hidden spots there on Europa?
There's penguins.
I didn't see the
Penguins.
penguins.
Okay.
I didn't
I
see any
didn't see any
penguins.
I haven't seen any penguins. People have been talking to me about penguins, and I've seen pictures of penguins, but I own no penguins.
The quests from Varix that give you the armor from him send you looking for these secret chests. They're more just like hidden. You'll see some on the way, and you
Yeah.
eventually can unlock them. But I actually started to do that. Like again, as an example, I'm like, I am not going to get any power by doing this. But it sent me to the edges of exploring, and it's really cool. I don't know if you've gone to all the edges yet. I don't think I even have, but it sent me to a few, and I was like, holy cow! Like this goes down. There's one area that goes down towards the glassway, and you start weaving into areas that you just normally would not traverse unless you really get into the back of these spots. So that in that way, I've seen more than it's not secrets really, but it's
There's
secret
stuff that's
areas.
popped up. Did you see the strange
The
signal?
keys.
No, the strange signal. Have you seen that pop up on your screen?
I don't know if I saw strange signal.
It
Not
was in the
sure.
east side of the map, and I was there, and suddenly a
East side?
strange signal popped up as a little modifier on my left, and someone in chat pointed it out, and I was like, huh. So I went into my inventory and looked at it and said, strange signal. It's over by the Nexus, and it expires in 30 minutes. I was like, oh, I better go over there and investigate. And it was like this whole sequence of things where these platforms
That's
appeared.
really cool.
Yeah, these platforms appeared. I
really?
had to shoot these crystals and then take out these enemies and keep on doing it, and then ultimately I got a legendary out of it.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
No, it's really
nice.
cool. Like if you look at the triumphs, there's just like pages and pages of secret triumphs. So it makes me think that there's quite a lot of triumphs
Yeah,
that are
they're
secret.
not very obvious. And I have noticed a lot of people saying, like, does it feel like Europa is kind of devoid of secrets? And I think they might just be really well hidden right now, or maybe on a rotational thing.
It may
we-
come once the season starts and we start to get like kind
Yeah.
of brought down the path of kind of like with the Dreaming City where kind of something was unlocked for us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And-
absolutely that's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like there's a good chunk of secrets. Also, I told you guys there's going to be penguins.
You
There were-
did?
I
So
did. I
there's-
mentioned I was like, there's going to be penguins. They're not real penguins, but there's penguins.
Well, wait. Are
I
they
like to
penguins
think
or
someone
not?
listened to the podcast and
I
was
am
like,
surprised.
what did you guys think about how you get stasis?
Yes.
Because this didn't
Great.
just instantly give it to you, which is what we
Yeah.
normally experience.
Yeah, this is something I want to say for the campaign also. I actually really enjoyed how they
Mm.
eased you into it. They give you a taste. You didn't fully get it yet, but you got a taste to go crazy with it. And then you got a taste to go crazy again later on. And like it was like, what, 4 times before you finally acquire it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like each boss fight, roughly, right? You're getting full empowerment and just go nuts at some moment in the boss fight normally. But I kept thinking I was going to get it in the middle of the story, right? And
Mhm, same.
pretty much
I
gotta
thought
do
that
the whole
too.
Thing. So I thought that was good. It again, it shows you when you have something to sort of grind for. It's really a lot more exciting. You know, we knew, right? You knew the whole time. You're like, I'm going to get new powers, and it kept teasing you and teasing you. and it takes a while to get it. So I think that's great. You know, I'm well. I guess for playing all 3 characters, it's probably fine too, because it's not too bad once you have power to run through it in probably 4 or 5 hours. But
Oh, you do have to run through it.
but you have to run through it to get stasis, and that's just the
haven't done
beginning of your path to stasis.
Yeah, and all the stuff to upgrade it, you got to do all that in each character.
Aspects, fragments, yeah.
Yeah.
So I only just started doing that again because I got distracted by some other stuff, which I'm very happy about. But they even I believe that they weave in the exotic quest too with getting some stasis powers. So
They do, yeah.
I
loved it.
Well done. Yeah.
I love that you unlock it slowly. It made me feel so much more connected to Stasis as a subclass over all the other ones because I was learning lore about it. I was learning what it means to wield this power, like understanding how big of a deal it is that you have this power. And then, you know, as you start getting the grenades and the aspects and the fragments, unlocking things slowly and working towards that really made me feel more invested in the sub.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at before. It's like,
and that
tonight,
feels way better.
Oh, sorry, everybody froze. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a little hiccup.
Just Discord being Discord.
A little hiccup, everything's fine.
Discord crazy.
I was gonna. That was what I was getting at before. Is like tonight, I know that I should probably hop on and do like some menial grinds, and I'm like, I do not want to do that because I want to keep chasing aspects and fragments for my hunter still. Like I'm not even gonna do any alt characters yet, and I'm excited to do it. I haven't felt that way in a long time. Like I can't wait to get. Like I just got a new grenade, right? And now I'm like, oh, I can get the next one. I also want to get the Shatter Strike thing, and like. Really in any action RPG, that's what drives me, man. Like Zelda, Metroid, some of my favorite games, and knowing there's this thing after you conquest this next segment or boss that you're gonna level up and get this new power. Is such a great driver for me. So I'm really enjoying acquiring stasis. I think it's it does beg the question of what we talked about in previous shows. Like, wait, is this now the way forward? There's other forms of darkness and therefore other aspects, and is that how they're going to maybe?
I wouldn't be disappointed if they did that formula.
I think it's going to be weekly, to be honest. I think it's going to be like a weekly mission where you go and you get to learn more about the story between, you know, Stranger and Anna. And you get to acquire new aspects. I think that's how they're going to do it. And I honestly don't have a problem with that. I think that Forsaken did the time gating stuff really well because it felt like every week something was evolving. Things were getting darker. Things were going down. And I kind of like that because it keeps me invested long term in the story instead of being like, okay, done with story, back to Destiny.
Yeah. Like even Arrival's exactly like it. Did a good job of stringing us along, and that wasn't even giving you many rewards, right? So to think of like you're getting fragments or aspects as part of that could be really cool.
I dig it. Yeah,
I was very happy with that.
And by the way, the sound on Stasis is
cool.
insane.
So good.
Absolutely ridiculous. Every time you hear it, it's just it's like
Sound
dubs
design on
and
the whole
Coca-Cola.
expansion is amazing. Like the sound of like the wind blowing and like Europa in general, like
the music is epic.
Yeah, the music is really cool.
Shout out to
like
them.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
high quality.
We actually should spend a second on that. You know, it's always easy to leave, but the visual team and the audio team, I feel, killed it on Europa. There's so like it's not just white plains of snow. There's so much texture. The Clovis labs are unbelievably cool. They're very cool. Yeah, they made me want an entire raid that was like that cool looking. And they even do really cool stuff where you're down in a super shiny. Yeah. Super. Is that actually supposed to be Clovis Lab stuff?
Yeah, that's the Deep Stone Script. That's where the Exos were born.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I'm not a lore master, so I just always go on.
It's okay. It's okay. You're in the presence of one. It's okay.
But they do really cool stuff. Like there's one mission where you're in these really shiny labs, which you've kind of been in, and you're chasing some fallen, and beneath it is a fallen lair within the lab where they nested in. I was like, oh, what a cool twist, because they didn't just throw like a floating, you know, witch or whatever in there in these super shiny places. It's like nested in. There's so much texture.
Yeah.
And then the sound and the
I love that the
top of it is great.
The ruins of the Clovis Braid technology places feel almost like a horror film. You know, like a sci-fi horror film.
Are kind of.
You know, where like you
think
can totally
Trevor's gonna appear out of the corner.
Yeah, it could totally be.
Thought I got content vaulted, bitches. I'm back.
Exactly. They have this feeling of the sci-fi horror Event Horizon, type of thing going on.
You're right. Now that you mention it, it's gonna be
Yeah,
scary
it's
next
a little spooky, and it's
Mhm.
like there's just some like very plain looking robots. Like it was spooky. It was all
Mhm.
very
You turn
spooky.
around,
So yeah,
suddenly
I
it's
love that.
reanimated. Boom, right in your
Yeah.
head.
It's a little. You're right. It's like a little Event Horizon, a little Stanley Kubrick, maybe.
Yeah.
There's something going on in there with the visuals. You're right.
Basically, it's
How do you guys like the
extremely
new
well done.
title screen?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
It's
love
great.
it.
love
Yeah.
it.
Oh, the whole UI stuff is gorgeous. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
thought it was super clever because I assumed when I logged in that the UI would change and be all dark, but it's not, right. It starts. You have the light still, right, and there's a moment where it switches, right? Doesn't it switch once you get stasis? Yeah. It's really cool, all those little details, and seeing that change and embracing the moment you embrace the darkness for some of that stuff to change is really cool.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
first time I had heard like the new title screen music, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. But then like I just listened to it and like it very quickly became my favorite like title screen music.
Mhm.
So much so that like ever since I've left Bungie, I feel like I was like keeping myself from humming it. So because like it's not like anyone's gonna
It's in
fucking
your
randomly
NDA.
find me as I am in my own apartment, but it was
What's that tune, huh? What is that from an unreleased project, huh?
Is that from an unreleased project? Yeah. But hey, that sounds like that could be Destiny music. Get DJ on the phone.
I actually don't. I was so excited to hop in, honestly, and it used to be a ritual of mine to do that.
Mhm.
I would listen to the Orbit music as well, and I'll be honest, I was so excited to hop in. I totally did not appreciate that yet, so I'm now looking forward to do that.
Yeah,
but I
just-
really noticed
Yeah,
playing
just boot
on
up
Europa.
the game and sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Is it some of the same themes we hear on Europa? I think maybe. I don't
I'm
know.
not
I'll
sure.
have to go listen, but I really was almost surprised in some ways that the Europa felt like it had some like serious homage to Destiny 1 with the music, but also in its own right was just epic. And then it also does some of that cool synth stuff, and it's amazing how it all mixes together.
Yeah.
And
The darkness is super synthy.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
They
those
love
little
some
cues.
synths.
Oh, and this reminds me. I don't know if anybody else had this moment. I thought, and Briar, you might. Did you get to play much of the campaign yet, Briar? I forget.
Yeah, finished it.
Okay. I don't know if you noticed this. I'm a Star Wars fan, but it's one of the moments where you like go into like it's not an igloo or whatever, but you like go and the doors swing open to Varrix's like hut, and it's like it's like this Star Wars like door opening almost.
Yeah.
Like it's audio cue though. It's like the
Yeah.
orchestral. I swear it was an
flourish.
homage to Star Wars.
I had a couple feelings on Europa where I was like, I don't know why, it's just feeling kind of Star Warsy.
Yeah, I had the same thing going on.
They've
totally
got
Hoth.
some Star Wars vibes in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Yeah,
Destiny's always had.
Did
Your
we lose
mic cut
Briar?
out for some reason.
You just kind of.
But I like the look. Oh, poor Briar's face. The look at his face as soon as you're like your mic cut out. He's just like, oh,
Yeah.
You might be here.
Say something,
we're
Brian.
gonna need.
Hello.
Hey.
This-
There you go.
I hate Discord right now. Hate it.
Yeah.
If you have a limiter or like a the noise gate in Discord, maybe turn that off because it might be cutting your
It might be.
might be
Leave
cutting
it's
out your
off.
voice.
Double.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean that's just like scratching the surface. I have so much to do. I did. Get,
Yeah. Same.
the
I was like
exotic-
seeing people get fragments, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
have you guys leveled up Sabotage at all
You-
with Varrix?
A little bit.
Sabotage a little bit, yeah.
A
I
week.
did enough
I need
so
to
I
do
can
that.
get the
I need to
gun.
spend some time. Yeah, I need to spend some time on
Yeah.
freaking Europa doing public events to get the thingies to then do
Yeah.
the things.
And it
Yeah,
is
that's what
that.
I need.
And I was gonna say that was the first thing I did. Oddly, and the rewards aren't great at first, but for me it was a way to explore Europa. But yeah, I will say once you start doing that, you get into a little bit of like. There's a couple where I'm like, this is not fun. Like chasing down, like you're basically searching for spin metal, on part of it. And I'm like,
Mm.
I get it. You do need to
Throw
add
the
those things in, but-
hunter top tree on, man. You'll be fine.
Yeah, no.
Hold on.
Well,
I feel like there's so
actually,
many resources everywhere. In fact, I
The
put
ghost.
There is.
Ghost.
yeah.
We didn't even
Ghost.
talk about
The
all that,
ghost
right?
changes.
There's just tons.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
They
I
put
talk about
tons
the
of
ghost real
chests on
quick?
it.
I turned in Crucible tokens. I got a ghost mod where every time I get a headshot in the Crucible, I have a chance of getting an enhancement prism.
What?
So I
That's
throw
awesome.
that on.
Really?
I threw it on and I was like, how often is this going to happen? I have to hit a headshot and then it's like a chance to get it. And it happened in the match and I was like, oh, I got an
immediately.
enhancement present, guys. It
Are
was
you
amazing.
serious?
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of really cool ghost mods
That is
where,
cool.
yeah, it's great. You can sit in the Crucible now and get upgrade materials from just playing if you put the ghost mods on. It's good.
Yeah. So for
If you don't mind getting frozen, right?
Hey, just gotta,
hey,
not
everybody who's
stand still.
upset about the Crucible, chill out. Cool your jets.
Before
Get
we start
yourself a
complaining,
little
though,
popsicle.
Yeah. Wait. The ghost is cool. I'm really happy.
yeah,
with
ghost
it.
changes are cool. Really like that. I mean, overall, I feel like aside from loot, this DLC has been fantastic. Like, just it's a real treat.
I think it's
you know?
amazing.
It's a new destination. It's a lore dump that's crazy that connects a whole bunch of things from D1 that we thought that they just were like, we don't know if we're ever going to go back to those type of things ever again. And they did, and it was awesome. Yeah, overall, really, really, really like it. Now, the new season has not started yet, and that means the seasonal activity, and that's, I think, next week or next reset or something like that. And I don't know.
17th.
Yeah, I don't know what potential loot is going to come with that, but the issues that I have with Beyond Light as of right now is that one of the rewards was the freaking long shadow sniper. I was like, are you serious? You're giving me this freaking sniper that I've had for 2 years? Yeah.
That did come from a quest. I remember getting it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was like, huh. Yeah, that kind of felt like you kicked me in the nuts. Yeah, I'm getting a little queasy.
I'm glad you bring that up because Cosmodrome, I'm very curious. What do you guys, and sorry, I know you're involved, Pat, but I haven't got to play the new light stuff though. It's totally separate, but I went back. I was so excited to like return, and the quest they send you to do with Shaw to go back. I gotta be honest, man. It felt like a little like rushed and jammed in there because you go back and you collect, and maybe the problem was how long it took me to collect these. It was like 5
You weren't
fallen
hitting
fragments.
precision shots.
It doesn't say precision shots.
Oh,
in the thing.
that was a different quest.
Ooh.
Okay.
So I don't know that it is that exactly. There's a number of things, but did you guys have any trouble on the Cosmodrome? My point is, in short, I went back. I was excited. At first, you notice the difference. Of course, it's not going to be like Europa, and I'm not saying that it should look amazing like many years later because they brought the Cosmodrome back, but you do notice the difference. It's a little more plain. And then doing this quest though, it literally just had you like shoot Fallen in the Divide to get like 5 fragments of something, and I was literally there for 15 minutes, and they just were not dropping. So I started to do the thing where I was like, wait, is it one of those things that didn't make it in the quest line? Yeah, is it precision? Is it? So at first I started using abilities. I'm like, it's not that. And then I don't know if this is it. I used my rocket, my power, 4 in a row. I don't know that was it. Whatever the case, Cosmodrome for me, I have not gone back to since, and I'm like,
I don't think I've done that
not
yet.
excited right now, but.
I know I
Did you
didn't
guys get
have
time
that
there?
problem. I wasn't there for super long, and I think also it helped because there were so many missions early on in Destiny 1 where you did have to be in there killing Fallen and getting
Yeah, we've
materials
already done that.
to
Yeah.
drop. So I was like, this is kind of fun. I remember doing this. I remember hanging out in here for a super long time, getting all these things to drop. But I think you just have bad RNG, friend, because mine
Yeah,
was pretty fast. I was like in and out pretty quickly. If anything, I wanted to
Wait,
be
is this
there
the first
longer.
time that you had to go there to do some
It's the
stuff?
first time you go back.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I was in and
In
out.
the story.
I was in and
Yeah,
out.
I got
Yeah.
there. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I
in
wish
fact,
I
I
could
went
stay
down-
longer here.
Yeah, I went downstairs, high-fived the knight. I was like, yo, what's up, knight? This is crazy. Then I went over, said hey to the ogre. I was like, brrr, ogre go brrr.
He speaks ogre.
Yeah.
So happy.
But Watts, you nailed it actually. It was less okay. My RNG
Right,
kinda
you've completely
sucked,
cut
but-
out, just to let you know.
Yeah, but the point I was actually trying to make, RNG aside, even if it was fast, I was excited to go back to the Cosmodrome. But that moment kind of was super flat compared to the rest. Briar really doesn't like Cosmodrome. He just left the call.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm gonna go play. I'm gonna go
screw
play on the
Cosmodrome.
Cosmodrome some.
But I do hope I know there's some secrets there and stuff that that they've changed up a bit, and I haven't even looked. But I was hoping the campaign, if it was going to send me back, was something a little more
Well,
exciting.
I'm
that was-
assuming-
to your point, that was a little flatter for me.
Yeah.
Than the main campaign.
I'm assuming there's gonna be something with the seasonal content, right? Like if this
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
seasonal
definitely.
activity that comes out happens, I'm assuming it's going to be incorporated with the Cosmodrome as well. I could be assuming completely wrong, and if that's the case, that's unfortunate because I thought it was really cool visiting the Cosmodrome and seeing the redux of it and having the Walmart brand Omnigul show up in that strike. It was like,
Navota.
Sam's Club.
yeah,
Navota.
great value.
Put respect
Navota.
on her name, okay.
Yeah, I
it?
had
Is
to
Navota?
I had to learn how to spell that name. I had to commit that name to memory.
Navota.
How hard
I
was it
thought-
for you to just say not Omnigul?
I definitely, when writing bugs and feedback for a bunch of the stuff, I kept calling her Omnigul.
Like, I
Actually,
know
yeah.
who you mean.
What did you guys think of that strike?
I actually really enjoyed it. I really did.
I
Like,
did enjoy it too.
yeah, it was very nostalgic,
I was-
and I think there's something. I don't know if it is the nostalgia, but I feel like a lot of D1 strikes just flowed really well, and it felt like that one had
Yeah.
a good flow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna
yeah,
say,
I loved it.
Yeah, I didn't. I was between reading chat and being excited. I loaded in and didn't realize at first that that's what I was doing. I was like, oh my god, it's the Omnigul strike, and I didn't know Navota. Is that right, Pat?
Yeah, Navota.
Navota. And I didn't know. And you get to the end in there, and I won't. Well, it's not really much spoilers, but it's not the boss room where Omnigul was, and they just
Yeah.
shoved in Navota. It's kind of like before, where there's more to it, right? And that's
Oh.
the
No, I was just
change-up.
gonna say, according to Hunter, there is they give Navota a storyline in New Light. You confirm, Patrick. So we actually learn about Navota. It's not just like, oh, here's like, I don't know, some wizard to take Omnigul's place.
Yeah, there you Shaw is like Shaw is trying to fight Navota. You show up, and stuff happens, and there is like a storyline that the New Light players get to experience. Which I think kind of gives some sort of nice lead into the game rather than just you're a guardian. Here's a gun, shoot stuff
Yeah.
from the. Okay, here's all the destinations. Go there, complete bounties. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
You're
do
a
everything.
guardian now.
That's great. I love that you learn about her.
Is Navota like
Actually-
a really big fan of Omnigul? And so it's like a super fan, a stan that
She's
suddenly
like
becomes
cosplaying
Omnigul.
inner image.
Yeah,
She's
She's
like,
like cosplaying Omnigul a bunch, yeah.
Omnigul.
yeah.
By the way,
Love
I
her.
Navota doesn't scream like Omnigul, right? That's gone, right?
I
I think it
remember
is
hearing
because I
that
kept
scream.
waiting for it. Yeah, I kept waiting for it, and I never
because
heard
Omnigul
it,
silencer
so-
screams. No more of that, right?
Mhm.
Is that-
Mm.
Is that lore?
That's what.
Yes.
That's what it says in the strike. Omnigul silencer screams.
Yeah, silencer
It's
screens.
silence.
That was like a mission. That was like the mission where you first see Omnigul, and we're like, oh shit, yeah, it's like this is gonna be some. I need to learn how to silence her screams. It's gonna be story related, and you never
Yeah.
learn how to silence Omnigul's screams other than just fucking shoot her in the face.
Hitting her with the
Yeah,
Gallahorn.
exactly. I thought that was doing it right.
Kind of
But
crazy
that-
when you think about it, right? How much D1 and D2 have changed, and story is definitely a big part of that. You are now Destiny, the way that Bungie are doing it now, which seems to be a thing that has happened since Bungie has become independent, especially, is they're really trying to weave all of this stuff into a story and not just here's a bad guy, shoot him, get loot. It's actually you learn who they are and where they're from and what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. In fact, going back to the campaign, post campaign, once you've completed it and gone through and start getting the exotic, what's the name of the gun? The exotic
Salvation's Grip?
Salvation's Grip.
For some reason I can't remember
The
the name of
freezy
it.
one?
This is
Yeah.
that last mission where you finally get it is got to be my favorite mission of acquiring a gun in Destiny ever, because they did something that I've always wanted them to do. I wanted to see the gun like propped up almost Doom style of like, here's the badass weapon that you're like going in and stealing, and it's right here, and then you walk up to it and you grab it. I was like, yes, I've been waiting for this to happen in Destiny. Spoilers.
Yeah,
It
was
was
great.
cool. It was cool. You could equip it right away, and they let you use it to get out of there.
And the ghost. Oh my god. The ghost.
The lines.
The lines are so good.
I
It's so good.
I like how the ghost was self-editing himself, being like, "Oh no, that's
Yeah.
that's too strong. I need
That's
to,
too
like,
much. Should be a shorter
throw
one.
it out there." Yeah,
So I know,
I'm
wait, that
still-
wasn't very good. Let me try again.
yeah.
It's weird because you're not used to hearing that personality in the ghost, like you were saying before. It kind of hit me like a lot at first, but now I could see kind of coming around to it
I loved it.
and wanting more of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. The way they like position that quest, I was really pleased with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to go and actually playing the Beyond Light campaign. I'll be like playing it this weekend probably.
Nice.
Just like everything that I've heard seems like people have really liked it. The difficulty level seemed like it was really good. Apparently there's some like really good missions in there. So
There are
Mhm.
really good.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I definitely don't want to gloss over this point though about the I think what's lacking in this drop, this DLC, is the loot, because they sunsetted a bunch of our gear, and we were like, all right, well, if you're gonna sunset and take away a bunch of stuff, then I'm expecting new things to show up, and it does not feel like a lot of new stuff is there. There's some stuff from Varix, you know. There is obviously a few exotics, and there's the new seasonal stuff that's coming. I don't know what weapons are being added with that, so it is a little premature to be like, hey, where's the loot? And we got a raid coming, and there's going to be loot in there.
Strike weapon, and there's a Crucible specific weapon. The Crucible specific pulse rifle is friggin' dope. It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Side note.
How do you get it? Is it just out of
Just playing
chance?
any Crucible? Yeah, it just
Just
randomly drops. But it's a really solid gun. Same with the Europa pulse rifle. Good stuff.
You know what's yeah, I was gonna. It's a good point. I'm having a flashback to Shadowkeep when you said the exact same thing. I think, but I have a feeling, without knowing for sure that what's coming, it's probably gonna be something like Shadowkeep was, where we had that feeling at first, but then once some of the event stuff starts dropping, and then it evens out a little bit. But I think you're right in general, though, that it's not some huge refresh. Because like I only got a few guns the entire campaign. 6 to 8 hours of playing. It wasn't like
one
you
of
got a legendary. You're like, oh, let's try this out. It almost never happened.
Yeah, I think I had like a Xenoclass shotgun that dropped.
Yeah,
I think
given.
Yeah, maybe it was given.
Given a pulse, a shoddy, and I think maybe the
a bow.
I think you're
rocket
given
launcher.
Oh, and the
rocket
bow.
launcher. Yeah, that's Varix stuff, or Varix branded or whatever. There is the Xenoclass shotgun that I don't know if it's just a regular random drop or whatever, but that did drop
I
for
think
me.
that's the so the Crucible has the pulse rifle, and then PvE has that shotgun. I believe, as a random drop.
Gotcha.
It comes from like patrols.
I think it was just a random engram. Yeah, I was like, oh, a new gun.
I don't have it yet.
Yeah, well, it's just a regular shotgun, but I think it highlights some of the problems, or like the issue of calling Destiny a looter shooter, and maybe it needs to be rebranded a little bit beyond that if it's going to continue to not really give big drops of loot in the game. What do
you propose to the name?
I don't know.
It's just like an RPG.
But RPG maybe. But like one of the biggest criticisms
FPS
people go
action RPG.
Yeah, one of the biggest criticism is like, hey, it's a looter shooter, yet you give such small amounts of loot. Yeah. For
to be they don't call it that, to be fair. You're right. We do. And I mean, I think the branding is still spot on, but right, it's an action MMO, right? Isn't that what Luke and the team refer to it as very strongly the last few years?
They have been doing that, yeah. Action MMO. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, either way, your point stands. I mean, dude, we went through the whole campaign and we got Long Shadow, a sniper, was part of it. So there's not like a ton of, doesn't seem like there's a ton of loot. We could probably expect it to be a little like Shadowkeep.
This might be one of those things that's just changed over time in Destiny too, right? It's like we've seen a lot of those things where, maybe you came to this because it was a massive loot drop game, and maybe it's not that anymore.
That's what I'm coming to expect now. Like seeing this, they sunset all these weapons. A large amount of weapons went away that are not usable for end-game activity, which is good because some of them were crazy, obviously. And then they definitely did not refill the options out there for it. It's like there's a few that were brought forward. I'm happy the guillotine and the hunger and non-hunger and all that, but like it didn't fill all the gaps. And I don't know if the raid loot and the seasonal content is going to fill some of those gaps as well. Probably a little bit, but it's not going to be a big like feast of loot to go and chase.
Yeah, I'm curious.
No, I was just gonna say maybe that's not Destiny's strong point anymore. It's their storytelling and the evolving world and the worlds in general and all of that is kind of Destiny's thing now, not so much the looter part.
I don't know. I think partially, yeah, but I also think we've just seen Destiny do this too often, where you sort of have when you're on, when you're off, so to speak, very loosely. Like in other words, this year we finally got, the focus is on mods and the Stasis. A lot of new stuff going on there. Then that seems to me where there's a ton of focus and a lot to do and a lot of new interesting things. Plus modding, all that stuff, right? Where the guns, it's been a while since we've really got big infusion of new stuff and replacing stuff. It's happened very progressively. But in other words, hopefully maybe next year will be the year, in other words, where it's like, oh, now we're seeing more focus, a big new set of guns, and they're finally sunsetting some of this older stuff. I still have
That's got to be a high cost development thing too, right? It's like
I'm sure
designing new weapons that don't look like old weapons. Like that's a lot of work.
Easier just to change the number from 150 to 140. I mean, brand new.
Right.
Yeah.
Not wrong with
Brand
that.
new gun, my friend.
They feel great. The change they've done to hand cannons actually feels really good, in my opinion.
Is that both, do you think, in PvE and the Crucible Watts, or is that mostly for
Yeah.
Crucible? Yeah?
I'd say for both. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the hand cannons were feeling good, personally.
I use pulse rifles so much, I guess. And I love hand cannons, but yeah, I didn't get into it yet. I'm excited. Maybe when Hawkmoon is back.
The 120s feel really good. And then like the choice of 140, I think was a pretty good choice. Like it just feels good. It feels like all of them have a very unique style now. It's not confusing. It's like, what's 140, 150? What's really the difference? Not much, right? But it feels like, yeah, each have an identity. They all feel good. It's good. I've been really liking them.
Interesting. Also, not to harbor on the loot situation, but like the armor. What do you guys think of the armor that's learnable from Gambit, Crucible, Vanguard? That's like the same geometry, just with a different, paint.
It actually
something new.
It looks more different than I thought it would.
Same. I agree with Watts there.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be like a decal, which it kind of is, but it's the same skeleton, I guess, with the different decal on it. But I thought it was just going to be very minimal, like, who cares? But if you have the Gambit cape, you have the Gambit cape. If you have the Crucible cape, you have the cape. So it looks more different than I expected. It's something new to get, which I like. So it's more different than I expected, which is
it's at least it's new. It's more new than what we normally get out of those vendors,
Yeah.
I haven't spent enough time looking at it. I've definitely got some of those drops, but I don't know. I feel like we've gotten so much armor that, it doesn't stand out, but I haven't had a problem with getting a new set. Yeah, I mean, it's that there was a time when I wanted new armor, but there's been so much armor and the ornament system now and transmogs coming that I guess I just don't care as much about that as much as I do about the quality of the drops and focusing on, mods and stasis mods and stuff. So I don't know. The main reason to get armor now is just for the look of it, right?
Yeah, the roll.
Right?
The look and the roll, yeah.
The stat roll. But in other words, you can get a stat roll almost from anything, where in other words, in the past, you might have been farming, the Dreaming City because you're like, oh man, they're dropping with a lot more of these perks. And I actually think it's good we got away from it because I had way too much armor that just was like, I'm never going to wear this, but I want to keep it. And so they fixed that. But at the same time, it's like, well, it's some like refreshes.
It also meant that you were always running like one type of content because this dropped the thing that could roll with the best potential perks or something. Like, remember the enhanced perk situation that was happening where if you, the only content you wanted to run was stuff that dropped enhanced perks because why would you want to run anything else in the best?
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
I will say, I love that moon backpack armor way more than I expected.
Yeah.
The backpack
It's actually pretty nice.
The cloak for the hunter?
Yeah, the cloak with the backpack.
With a big old backpack.
I actually really like
Mandalorian backpack for the winter, right?
That's great. I wasn't expecting to like it from pictures that I saw, and then getting the full armor, I was like, this is actually kind of nice.
It's actually pretty great, right?
I like it.
One more thing one last criticism that I have about the loot, and it's maybe I look too much into stasis, but I was actually expecting the sandbox to get adjusted towards essentially having a fourth element and weapons then having like a set of weapons that could have stasis on them or something, like enemies having potentially stasis shields or stuff like that. And I understand that might happen in the future. It could roll in to the ecosystem and the sandbox and all that. But that was one of the things I was kind of looking forward to. And it just is not the case. At least I don't think. Unless
Yeah,
the raid
it's-
changes things. Maybe the raid has a bunch of that. I don't know.
I think it seems like they so in the other elements are just it's solar on your shield. It does literally nothing. There's that solar thing doesn't do anything, the void doesn't do anything. It's just to take down certain shields. So it feels like they went the direction with stasis of what we've kind of been wanting from things, right? Where the one stasis gun we have makes giant ice walls. And so that's what it does. So I was expecting the same thing. I was like, oh, it's going to be a whole new element. We're going to
Mhm.
have a stasis shields, but it seems that they went the direction of stasis of we want it to be actually an element that is creating something instead of just a shield breaker. So I'm excited for Solar Void and Arc to go that way instead of just enemies having shields.
I'd be
So I'm
in
hoping-
favor of that.
I'm hoping that's where they're headed. Is we want more things to be like stasis rather than we want more things to be like void, solar, and arc.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
if that's the way they head, that'd be super fun. Like if you look at that grenade launcher, a lot of people are saying they don't like it, but what it does is it embodies like that power, right? That stasis power puts up that
Yeah.
wall. Like it very much is a stasis rocket or a grenade launcher, and it's very unique in that way. And if we could have other especially exotic weapons that really kind of get to the core of that'd be like what's the Sunshot does that a little bit, not to the same extent, but like
Tommy's
stuff like that
matchbook,
would be a lot of fun.
I think is actually
Mhm.
pretty on point.
What's
What is
that?
Holtz?
Yeah.
Tommy's matchbook is
Oh.
pretty on point. The Tommy
The
gun,
overheat.
yeah, that overheats
Yeah.
and like burns you, but then increases damage. I feel like that's a pretty on point like
Yeah,
solar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think we haven't had time to use it yet, but yeah, it's instead of it just being like a damage type, which is what we have to get our heads wrapped around. It's literally like a support or a strategic type, right? In other words, I think we're moving more towards like we've seen with say Anarchy. It's less about arc and more about what it's doing. And in this case, same thing. It's like if I can get Teft to place a very well placed stasis shot, and I can show you Teft, don't worry. I'm going to place it right here at the foot, but
Okay.
keep someone frozen in their tracks with the right ammo. Meanwhile, while somebody else does something. In other words, it's not like you're just trying to shred somebody's shields with a damage type. And to be fair, other exotics do that, but I think that's the thinking. And to say I don't like that gun yet, well, maybe you haven't had 3 of your 6 people use it in a raid yet on an enemy. and
Maybe
see
you
how
haven't
that
frozen
changes.
a bunch of dudes and then shatter dived into them.
You haven't lived until you've
Um,
done it. And I haven't
the
done it yet.
way I've been thinking about it is stasis is a different element in the way that like stasis is an action, whereas the previous elements are reaction, if that makes any sense. Like whenever the old elemental system, whenever you see a shield, you are reacting, swapping to that, and swapping to that element, and countering it with your own element. Whereas you're creating the situations with stasis.
Yeah.
It's an
makes sense.
entirely like it's its own action as opposed to you
Yeah.
just doing something
That's
that
true.
happens to be on the battlefield. So it's like a
Mhm.
completely separate thing.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, it's a
Fascinating.
little more cause and effect. Yeah.
Mhm.
And we see that with exotics. But yeah, it's like the idea that, like, imagine that solar had an intrinsic stagger with it. That when you light someone on fire, finally, like some other RPGs work that way, right? You apply enough solar damage that it staggers them because they catch on fire. Maybe that's a world we move towards, and like that'd be great. I think exactly, instead of just breaking a shield or the singe of the day is orange that you just got to avoid it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It becomes more meaningful that you might get staggered because you're going to catch on fire or whatever. So yeah, getting frozen was a trip, man. What was you guys' first reaction? I'll
God
use mine
damn
as the
it.
example. Yeah, whole son of a whoa! I'm super frozen, way more than I thought this was going to be. It's really tough to break out. Oh my god, there goes 90% of my health. How
Do
did
you want me
guys
to
feel?
tell you something about? Do you want me to tell you some sick tips about stasis and
Put it on
being
your scroll
frozen?
wheel.
No. So the way that the freeze works with stasis is so if you just let it run its course, which is about 4 or 5 seconds, you will break out of the freeze and you will take 0 damage. If you just let the freeze play out. If you break out, you take damage. However, the amount of damage that you take when breaking out of the freeze is based on your resilience level. So if you're experiencing some really tough situations where you're getting frozen a lot and you are not enjoying getting out and taking a bunch of damage, you can stack resilience. Or like when I was fighting, what's her name? Curtis?
Mhm.
Curtis?
Yeah, Critis.
Critis.
I think.
When I was
Critis.
fighting her, I would just let the freeze play out because I was going to put myself in a worse situation breaking out than just sitting there and waiting for it to play out and take 0 damage.
I never once
Did not
even
know that.
thought about just sitting there. And
Just
letting
sitting.
it, like, never occurred to
Same.
me.
Which is funny because you see the enemies do it all the time. Like when you don't get to shoot them, eventually it crumbles out away and it breaks. But your reaction is get me the frick out of this. When you're not moving in Destiny, I think it's pretty normal to want to like break out. Plus, there's a giant on-screen thing telling you to
Yeah,
press.
press the button.
Yeah. Break out. Break free.
That's cool.
You're like,
I will say, by
no.
the way, now granted the campaign was kind of like higher level, so it was going to do a lot of damage anyway. I actually did stack tons of resilience. That's pretty much all I did for the campaign, just to kind of keep it a little more even for me, and it still hurt a ton. But I bet you, yeah, once you're at level, that's be interesting to have to think about stacking resilience if you're like in a heavy stasis situation.
Yeah.
Does that work in the Crucible at all?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah?
It does.
Speaking of Crucible,
Interesting.
I haven't.
Do we want to do it? Do we want to
I haven't
touch on
played
it?
any. I didn't step into the Crucible once, so let's hear some thoughts.
Do we want to start with my hot take that's going to make everyone really mad? But let
Let's
me
hear it.
I feel like it's
explain.
all you, Watts.
Okay.
No, hot takes you can't explain. You
I can't explain the hot take.
You hot take them,
Yeah.
and
It's not a
Okay,
hot
here's
take
my
if
hot
it's
take.
explained.
I think Stasis is good for the Crucible. Reasoning.
That is a hot
Stasis
take.
is very, very good at forcing people out of their corners where they're sitting there with their little swords going, "Ew, can I move yet?" Throw a grenade in there, get them frozen, run in there, kill them all. Because you have to move, you can't be camping, and you can't stick together. Otherwise, Stasis is going to destroy you for that.
Okay.
Now,
Counterpoint though.
no,
What
but
if-
I have my
what
own
if-
counterpoint.
But what if you're flying at them with the super and they just throw out their little warlock spooge of,
Well, that's
of
where
stasis?
my counterpoint comes from. I think that the freezing in Crucible specifically needs to not last as long, and you need to not take as much damage or any damage from breaking out of it in the Crucible. I think being frozen in Crucible is punishment enough because people can get on top of you and they can take you out with that. That you don't need to then be punished for breaking out as well. So I think having the amount of time that you are frozen go down would be very good, and not taking damage when you break out would be good. The melee, the Warlock melee, can just instantly freeze with just like, oh, and you're freaking frozen. Which maybe there's something that can be done there. I've seen some thoughts of like maybe you hold it down and then it freezes, or if you just throw it, it's a slow. Because
what if we
then
just delete warlocks,
I mean, that's a good option because they're always
right?
busted.
That's me.
Hey, as a day one warlock, I take offense. I am deeply disturbed by all of his disgusting anti-warlock rhetoric.
Okay, I am a day one
But-
warlock. And I've come to
Yeah,
embrace the superior class that is hunters.
So the Warlock melee is definitely a problem. I will say, I think you're gonna find other classes being more of a problem when they get their fragments and aspects. I think right out the gate, Warlock is very, very, very strong. And I think as you start to get the different fragments and aspects, you're gonna be upset at more classes. Which is honestly a whole conversation about power creep as well. Like if we look at the D1 supers and the D2 supers, we are so ridiculously stronger with supers and abilities than we were before. I mean, we had one-shot melees and
You think this is going to be like a Overwatch Bastion situation?
maybe.
Do you remember when
Maybe.
Overwatch came out and everyone was complaining about Bastion, how he was overpowered, and then Blizzard devs were like, "He's fine, get used to it," because that's basically the same thing that they saw in their testing. Is once people learned how to combat Bastion, they were like, "Oh, he's not a problem actually."
So I think the thing, right, is that being frozen is just, I don't really think stasis is that much of a problem. I think it's more of a problem that being frozen is not fun. Like you die from one-shot melees, one-shot grenades, one-shot stuff all the time in the Crucible, but it's less frustrating because you're just dead and it's over. But with stasis, you're frozen and you're standing there, and then you know that you're dead, and then you
gotta
die,
watch death
which
come to
is
you.
a lot more
Slowly walk
frustrating.
over.
They take a
If
That's why I
anyone's ever
think-
played World of Warcraft,
Selfie,
and they,
emote.
fought against a frost mage, they know the pain.
Which is why I think like So I want to give it more time before they make any moves, honestly, period, just because we are missing so many fragments and so many aspects. So maybe you're like, this melee is a big problem with the warlocks right now, but oh, now hunters can dodge and freeze you or dodge and slow you. And now that's actually combating the warlock, and the warlock kind of needs that melee to keep up. So I don't want to jump on just nerf it immediately. Because I think there's a couple things that people need to learning like what that melee animation looks like. If people cannot see that melee animation and react to it appropriately, then maybe that melee animation needs to be slowed down so people can see it happening and react to it. And then yeah, I think being frozen for less time and not taking damage when you break out is probably good. I think if we look at Stasis just as this is going to allow me to push this really campy team and get in there and get kills, it can fulfill that role of crowd control and taking advantage and making a really smart push by freezing, but not for as long. So as soon as you throw it down and they're frozen, you got to go in there. You can't throw it down, they get frozen, you're like, huh, are they frozen over there? Huh, guess I'll walk on over there and go, hello. Shoot 'em. Yeah, I think maybe the amount of time that you're frozen is probably a bit too much. They could bring that down.
The reaction, like I've been watching the reaction on Reddit and on Twitter, and it seems extraordinarily extreme. Like, I like watch.
Does it for
is it
Destiny
that
fans?
powerful? Is it
It's powerful. I mean, so if I will say, if you play against a full team of Stasis hunters, you probably won't experience the frustration you're experiencing than playing against full Warlock Stasis team. Because hunters, to freeze, they have to throw a grenade, which is the same grenade that everyone else has, or they have to throw 2 of their melee ability. A Warlock can throw 1 melee ability and you're instantly frozen. You can get a freeze with 1 of hunters throwing, but you have to hit it on a wall and it has to hit the person twice.
See, that doesn't make any sense that they would make it that warlocks can just have an instant freeze for the Crucible.
Well, that's why I'm thinking like the fragment the aspect that we were really worried about with Crucible was the rolling and just freezing people.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have that yet. So I think we're seeing like only a tiny percentage of the power of other classes. It's just Warlock right out the gate is just ridiculous.
So we're saying it's going to get worse before it gets better.
It's going to get... See, this is, like, again, a conversation about power creep, because we're having the conversation of Warlock is really up here, and then when you get aspects, you're going to be really up here. And that's why power creep tends to be bad, because everything's going up and up and up and up and up. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think the problem could be solved by them just removing or like reducing the amount of time that you're frozen? Or is it because like you go into third person, you're like, you are frozen, you can't make actions, and any amount of time of that is bad?
I think lowering it honestly would be fine with me. I can only speak for me and what I'm seeing, but I think lowering the amount of time would be fine for me, because what happens right now is you get frozen and you are there for so long that they can be across on the other side of a room or the map and run at you and kill you because you're still frozen. Whereas if you lower that, at least someone has to be close to make that push to kill you if they get the freeze. So if you lower that time, if you get frozen, it's not an instant death sentence if they're not right on top of you. Which
it is also kind of, I think it is also a situation. I do think it's very strong, just to be like completely forward there. I do think it's incredibly strong. Control specs, control in any game is usually going to be a very powerful ability. But I think it is a little bit of a situation like, does anyone remember when House of Wolves came out and everyone suddenly was using whatchamacallit?
Firebolt nades?
Shoulder charges?
No, the
nades?
sidearm. The sidearm. When House of Wolves came out, everyone was using the sidearm because you got it for doing the quest, and everyone immediately went into the Crucible, and they were like, I'm going to try out this new toy.
Like a nightmare.
And because you saw everyone using it, you're like, holy shit, this thing must be really strong. And like you just see a kill feed of that weapon, and it's like, oh, yeah, this thing's busted. Everyone's using it.
It's the Vestian Dynasty?
Yeah, the Vestian Dynasty. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, you're laughing now because that thing was trash.
Yeah, that's funny thinking about that.
Yeah, but it is, I think it partially is just an oversaturation of people using it. That being said, I think it is a problem that there isn't kind of a player-controlled release valve, so to speak. In Magic the Gathering, whenever a new mechanic comes out, they have learned to try to put in a release valve to counter that mechanic in some way. And like, it seems like there's some stuff in the game, like with resilience, lowering the amount of shatter damage and stuff, but you know, it doesn't seem like there's anything players can directly do to counter it in any way,
Yeah.
as far
You
as I
know,
can tell.
I'll say that when in D1, when Arc Hunter came out, everyone was asking for it to be nerfed immediately. Immediately, and there were conversations in, I'm sure in Bungie, where like, should we nerf it? Do we wait it out? What do we do? People were pissed because they were like, this is so much better than Golden Gun. Oh my god, I can't believe it. This thing is ridiculous. And then it got nerfed, and people thought it was trash because it didn't need to be nerfed at that point. It was actually totally fine. So I'm not saying that that is the same as this. This Stasis is definitely more powerful than that ever was. But I do think that maybe we don't jump on the instantly nerf everything train and maybe wait a little bit. Because
Yeah.
I've played a lot of Crucible over since the DLC came out, and you can I did notice that I was learning to play against it a lot better as I was playing against it. And then it was much less of a problem when I know, you know, what the signs are, what the cues are, what the sounds are of what's happening. So I don't want to jump on the instant nerf train, but I would like to see a reduction of time being frozen in the Crucible and maybe no damage when breaking out. For the Crucible specifically. Hopefully they can do that without touching PvE, because Stasis in PvE is phenomenal, super fun, it's amazing.
It's really cool.
So
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's column A, column B. I think you're right that almost every time this happens, you have this huge uptick in like everything's too overpowered, but you need to give it some time to settle. I think in addition, you've recommended not full on nerfing everything, but like some lighter touches. I think that's column A, but I do think column B is we still have a scenario where Crucible is not a fully split-tuned experience. I don't know that it ever will be. It's expensive. The team's already huge, right? Like, how do we get to that world? But isn't that the answer, right? Is that they do split tune some things, right? But let's look at did Witherhoard get taken out of the game right now as an example?
it's disabled.
It's
Yeah.
disabled.
It's disabled. It's a perfect example. There was a time that we couldn't even do that. Remember, Prometheus lens showed up, and it's like, it's going to be laser tag. We don't have that button. Well, they made that step. Okay, now we can pull out a weapon completely out of everything. But now we're at the state. We need to be in a situation where the same with like supers and stuff, that you can press the button, but it only affects Crucible. I just think you're still in column B. You are seeing some like, we sort of knew this was going to be a problem, and they're probably going to have to make some changes that are maybe even bigger than what you're saying, Watts. I agree. We should hop on the nerf change. I agree. We need to give it like, wait till we have all of our aspects, some other exotics and all that stuff. But I also think we're seeing a world where it's just not a fully split tuned experience. And I think it's tough. I'm struggling to not say it kind of sucks for PvP fans, right? I think that PvE is the priority experience. Thankfully, I tend to be more that, so I'm pretty happy with the game overall. But when I hop into the Crucible right now, and in the past, I've seen these moments, and I feel like, it's just going to take some time, and it's going to take some changes. But I don't expect it to just whip around next week and be like, oh, it's great, it's no problem.
It's gonna take a while. They postponed trials until the 27th, right?
Trials is postponed because of an infinite super. Wonder who has that infinite super.
Let me guess. Titans.
Nope.
Hunters.
No.
Huh.
There are no other classes.
Warlock from the game.
What do you mean?
Just remove them. Problem solved. No more problems in the game. Balance across the world. Peace. No more broke things.
We just covered that.
Wonderful.
The button that takes things out of the game exists. Take them out of the game right now.
Just say you cannot play Warlock this weekend. Sorry. Good luck.
Sorry if that's what you were leveling.
That's
Sorry that you're now 1050.
Talk about a perfect segue. Kind of sucks sometimes to be in the PvP community where you're like, I play Trials pretty much. You might have even picked it up for Trials because you're like, adept weapons, new mods, let's go. And it's like, sorry.
Nope.
Not till November
Nope.
27th. And look, this stuff happens, and I know that Bungie has already worked more hours than they had planned on this, and it sucks to be on
right
that side
after
of it.
launch.
I know that they care is the point, and it's we, I think we're pretty fair and balanced on the show, and we're pretty heavy critics, so it's fair to also say timeout. And Pat, you've been on that side, right? It's so much more work than it seems, isn't it?
I feel like
Yeah.
you just compared us to Fox News.
The one thing I've learned the longer that I like work in video games, it's fucking amazing how much what seems like a simple change or a simple feature to implement can actually involve like so many parties and just so many just so much more work than you actually thought. I've learned that a
Yeah.
lot, especially at my current job with like making stuff. I'm just like, oh fuck, I did not think about that at all.
I really like
Yeah.
that Jason Schreier quote where he says, "It's a miracle these video games ever get made."
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
true. It really
Seriously.
is.
the longer he hears about video games, it's a miracle that anything ever actually gets pushed out to production.
Yeah. It's true,
And
though.
of course, like as the player, you don't have to sit there and go like, oh, making video games was hard, and we care about how hard it is. But
Yeah.
and you absolutely criticize the game, criticize things that you don't like, but just
Yeah.
remember that developers are people. You don't need to tell them that you're going to burn
Exactly.
down their house or other such
Yeah.
things.
Oh, man.
Take a
even
step back.
jokingly, it's
give-
not cool for those people to see that.
It's not. It's really not. Just give your feedback. Feedback is incredibly important. Like a part of why games can be awesome is from community feedback. Community feedback is really invaluable. So please do give feedback if you're not happy about stuff. It's important.
Yep.
Just remember
Yeah.
they're people, humans.
That's the other side
Yeah.
of it, like kind of like Pat was saying. It's amazing that Destiny didn't get canceled, right? It's amazing that it made it past its tough times, and they
yeah,
worked
it's like
so hard. And that's
Because of good feedback, it's like
Yeah.
we got Forsaken.
Yeah.
we
like-
got
Yeah.
we got
Taken.
the Taken King. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
crazy. It's the road of Destiny. It's been packed with like all sorts of shit. Like there's just been it's
the
been an
best reality
interesting
show.
ride to be a Destiny fan over the last 6 years,
It
and
really
I'm
has.
sure it's gonna stay interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, we're already an hour and like
Yeah.
35 into the podcast. We
Yeah.
haven't talked about the
You
12
guys
at all.
are ready to talk about Curse of Oak Island finally?
I've been
episode
waiting,
1 to
man.
It was like pretty empty, right? For the most
Was there
part.
anything in the TWAB that we need to go over?
They found
Yeah.
a coin.
There's a.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I told you I gotta go early to. Yeah, I was gonna say as a reminder, I do like I don't know if you're doing questions, but I don't know if I can drop out after the 12.
Yeah.
We've got 2 hours of questions, Fran, that we need you for.
And they're all dear Fran. So
Dear
these-
Francis.
I told you a little
Mirabelle.
bit actually about Zivu Wrath. Is that her name?
the hunt
See
the
who
hunt
they're at.
trailer.
Yeah, and we got like Hawkmoon, Exotic Quest. They're kind of
Mm.
teasing that out there as well.
Yeah, there's a new trailer today for the Hawkmoon.
Yep. Yeah, I mean the hunt trailer came out. I think it's worth noting. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a really well done trailer, and I kind of touched on it before, but there's more to the story, and I thought the trailer did a good job of like spiders getting involved and is having you go on these hunts. But there's some really cool rewards coming. But we still don't know how a lot of this stuff's gonna play out yet. But it looks
I'm
cool.
excited. Yeah, I was playing through Beyond Light, and I was just like, "This, we still don't even have the seasonal stuff yet. I have so
Yeah.
much to do."
Mhm.
It's good.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and the crux of it, right, is this is it Zivu Arath, I think? But,
Zivu Wrath, yeah.
Every time I talk about lore, I'm like, just stop. Don't even bother. Don't try.
Zivu Wrath. Didn't Mylan tell us about her?
Probably.
Probably.
She's a sister.
Oh,
Let's go,
she's one
sis.
of
It's a
the-
hive.
She's one of Oryx's sisters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Savathun's sister or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Something like that.
interesting.
And by the way, it's what our artifact is, the Fang of Zivu Arath, right?
Mm.
So
Oh, she wants that back, I bet.
Yeah.
that's what it's all. The whole thing's
Dental-
about that. Like,
I can't
hello,
imagine
this-
how
I
hard
can't
dental
like
work is
eat with this thing.
on Hive.
But the idea is you're going to like shut down, after you thought you squashed some of the power that was out there with Aramis and the Fallen, you realize that people are rising up to seek the darkness still, and you've got your work cut out for you. So that's what we'll be doing in
Mhm.
the season of Hunt at the very least. But it looks cool.
Cool.
What else?
Yeah, it's not a lot, really.
They just
It's a
told us
season
how.
They're
now,
just
so,
getting
you
you
know.
ready for Season of the Hunt, basically.
And they clarified how cosmic ice works. They did tell you things you wouldn't, know otherwise without reading it. But in other words, when you like, for example, stasis slow, right, against a combatant just shuts off their movement abilities and slows their movement, right? Whereas against players, there's like a list of, okay, ADS speed is reduced, ADS move speed. So you can read through how each stasis element affects players versus combatants if you really want to get into the details.
Yeah, I think the biggest
Or you
takeaway
can
from
just
this
use it.
TWAB,
See?
biggest takeaway from this TWAB is that they have in a heading that says, "Fine, it's cosmic ice," and I just want to, give a shout out to DCP, this show,
Yep.
for
I think
coining
that
that.
needs to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
Well, you
and give me my trophy. Thank you.
It will be
We were
named
on the
Cosmic
forefront
Ice.
I'm making up
sure people
t-shirts. You
knew
can
that.
order them on youtube.dcp_live.com. They say, "Fine, it's cosmic ice" across the front of the t-shirt. That's all.
That actually might sell. Pretty
You
good.
guys ever had a cosmic crisp apple?
Yes.
I have
Man,
not
let me
yet.
tell you.
Yes.
Let
Hell
me tell
yeah.
you, you're missing out. Like,
I'm a
if you
pink
want
lady,
something
man.
cosmic in your life, they are.
Delicious.
It's a damn
I
good.
do want
apple.
to try them. These are
They
new.
are
Wait, they
great.
were like genetically engineered and made to be like a perfect.
They are the
long-lasting, tasty apple.
Clovis Spray facility of
Yeah.
apples.
They
Isn't
might
that
have
what the
Radiolarian
Honeycrisp
fluid
apple
in
is too? It's like a engineered apple to be as delicious as possible.
Yeah, well, the cosmic crisp kicks the shit out of a Honeycrisp.
Wow, damn.
Everything with cosmic in it
Strong
is
words
better.
there, Patrick.
Yeah.
I stand by it. I stand by it. I haven't purchased an apple since I've had a cosmic crisp apple. I will only buy those from now on.
Wow.
We'll see.
It's
gonna
the
take
one
a
apple that
lot to
ruined
get
all
me
other
off of
apples for you.
Yep.
Pink lady.
May cause anal lesion. Small, like just a little warning label.
Jeez, man.
But otherwise delicious. Do you guys want to do so? I know we're running short on time. I do want to do the Twitter questions, but we have usually I get 6 to 7 pages of Twitter questions. This week it's 11 pages. People are excited.
Have fun.
Do you guys
Noah.
want to just burn through these like super fast?
Rapid fire.
Rapid
eat.
fire.
I gotta grind.
No long
Okay.
answers. Short only.
No long.
Short
Zero
answers.
long
Short
answers.
answers.
Kill it.
Fran's leaving.
Fran?
Oh, no.
Fran's leaving.
Disconnected.
So it's going to get even shorter.
Exactly.
Do an impression of Briar and
easier.
then dip out of here. You'll be fine.
Just
So
like,
that's it for me.
Yeah,
right?
just leave. It's the
Yeah,
impression.
you're
All right.
good. You're good, Fran.
I love
Later,
you,
Fran.
Pat.
Bye,
Pat, it was
Fran.
awesome
Thanks
seeing
for
you.
Bye,
again.
Fran.
Show
Nice seeing you,
coming
man.
back. All right,
Bye,
bye, all.
Fran.
Thank you.
Bye.
all right, here we go. Are you ready
I'm
for
ready.
Rapid fire.
rapid fire? Lightning round
Actually,
Twitter
though.
questions.
Actually.
Actual
Not
lightning.
me.
Actually.
No him and
Rob
Han.
says, how many DCP members will be playing games on their next-gen consoles while on the podcast? 2.
I did a little bit.
Yeah. I can't.
2.
My monitor takes up. You guys are my freaking monitor.
The Great Macaulay says, Stasis made me want all elements to really dive into their themes. Solar is explosions and dot. Arc is chaining and area control. Void is suppression and defense. What do y'all think Bungie can do to make these elements like Stasis?
Yes.
Fire.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you nailed it in the question, to be honest.
I
Yeah.
did.
Exactly.
That's what they do. They
Like
do that.
arc just needs to naturally chain arc bolts of lightning to other enemies as it gets procced. Done.
Yep. Like Trinity Gold, but everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a wrong. Maybe not. Next.
Hobbit says, hi guys. With the release of Beyond Light, what are your thoughts on the revised new load experience? I'm going to say new light experience. Probably a typo.
New
there.
load.
New load experience.
Patrick worked on it. It's probably great.
Yeah, it's
Probably
fucking fantastic.
There you
We
go.
haven't played it yet.
It's effing fantastic.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. If you find something that's wrong with it, it was like that when I found it.
Maybe there's something wrong with you. Mohegan 9 says, do you prefer raid layers or dungeons?
Dungeons.
Raid layers.
Dungeons.
I like raid layers because it's 6 people activity.
I like dungeons because I don't have to talk to people.
I like dungeons because I
Yeah,
can solo them.
dungeons are good. The dungeons.
Jimmy Mac 03 says, I have a bazillion tokens and gunsmith materials saved from last season. I know they won't help with leveling, but if I want to wait to cash them in, until after I unlock all new weapons from Europa. Will I get more chances on rolls for those new weapons, or should I just catch them in now?
I have no fucking idea.
With the way that it works with Crucible is if you unlock like the armor, you can turn in tokens and get random rolls of that armor after you've already gotten it. So I would just say, yeah, wait until you have the stuff and then turn in the tokens. Unless you want ghost mods, because those are cool.
Could get ghost mods.
Could get ghost mods.
Achievement Raider says, where's the loot? When I look online, I see very few guns, and it makes the sun setting hurt that much more. Do you think we'll get a season devoted to loot?
No. However, we will say there is 31 new weapons, not counting raid weapons. So there's your answer. It's not an answer, but there's an answer.
Yeah, but where are the, what are those weapons? Like,
they're new.
Yeah, I need to look into it. I need to look into it and see that.
Like actually new.
We had a pretty long conversation about that before. I kind of. Lord Bira says, does the Hunter Stasis feel a little underwhelming? Also, Bryce, underwhelming.
It won't be later with fragments, probably. Aspects. Sorry.
Gotta power that up.
You gotta roll on them nerds and freeze them. That's what you need. When you get that, everyone's gonna hate you, Hunters.
Yeah, real quick, Barbarian chat said those weapons include the trials and their adept variants. So if that's part of it, again, like it just goes to show you that the loot pool is. Anyways, next question. Let's go. Rapid fire.
Private Pankey says, after seeing some aspects and subclass mods in action, are there any potential builds you guys are already considering or interested in trying? I am leveling a warlock right now, actually.
I'm looking forward to dodging and freezing everyone.
I froze a warlock. He popped his stasis super. I threw a cold snap grenade at him, and he got frozen, and then I killed him.
Nice.
It's okay when you do it to warlocks. Okay.
I agree. Janet says, oh no, I just hit the tab button. This is bad.
What did Janice say?
I don't know.
Janice, come back to us.
Janet.
Janet. Sorry.
Janet.
My bad.
Janet.
Destiny Fun Police recently mentioned that neutral game abilities should not be able to freeze opponents in the Crucible, only supers. What are your initial thoughts on how Stasis fits into the Crucible?
Yeah, honestly, the fact that the Warlock has like a cooldown to just pop out a thing and then freeze anything, like any super, is kind of, that seems overpowered to me. It seems like you need to stack it with something else, like a grenade and the melee, like what you do with the Hunter.
Hunter's balanced.
Joe says, can we appreciate how much faster load times are for old gen? I'm on Xbox One S, and the load times have been at least halved. Yeah,
I heard that.
I've
yeah.
heard
remember
that.
them talking about those improvements leading up to
That's
release.
great.
I have
That's
heard
nice.
that it's been incredibly faster. Super fast. So
I would
that's
not
great.
befoul my TV with such an old console, but I'm glad for you. Solid says, do you guys feel like what we got from the expansion made up for the fact that it was delayed so long?
I don't think delays normally mean anything besides we literally need more time to get the thing out the door.
Yeah, the 2 months doesn't mean that they were suddenly going to add 50% more content because they had to delay it or something. Yeah.
Ishka says, I love the expansion so far, but can't deny I'm disappointed with the weapons. I was hoping for a big influx of weapons to the loot pool and maybe even a few extra exotics. And we talked about this, Ishka. I think it's time to stop expecting that. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
It's time to stop hoping for it because you're only setting yourself up for disappointment at this point. And I don't disagree with the wanting it, but at this point we've had enough evidence that it's not coming.
Yeah.
Sith Assassin says the snowstorms are impressive, but I do not recall anyone saying there are also strong winds. Anyone check their map while on the Sparrow and find themselves blown halfway across the map or the cliff?
Yeah, I noticed that the first blizzard, I was on the Sparrow and I was like trying to move it. And I was like, oh, wait, there's a little bit of resistance in this old Stormy Sparrow.
Yeah, it's cool.
I love it.
Hydra says, do you think it's time to stop calling it Destiny a looter shooter and start leaning into it being an MMO, especially with lack of earnable loot and sun setting only increasing an artificial grind? It would actually go in line with what Luke said a while back. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, we said that exact thing earlier. Yeah, you nailed it.
Doughboy says, anyone else notice how much better darker areas look on old destinations? Exodus, Crash, Nightfall looked a lot different to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
in general, everything got a fresh lick of paint, right? Everything looks like
Yeah.
The
crispy
lighting system
and
is new. Is that right?
yeah, lighting system got adjusted or tuned, and it seems like the color grading across the board for everything was adjusted, like a little more contrast and more HDR thing kind of going on.
Yeah, I've been playing on a new OLED HDR set, and so I didn't realize that was for everybody. I thought it was just me.
Like, wow, Destiny's got a new look.
God damn, this looks good.
TV really paid off.
great.
Omega222 says, would love to hear about everyone's findings in exploring the snowy tundra. I, for one, am enjoying the Dreadnought level secrets hidden throughout. The replayable solo heroic lost sectors for targeted exotic farming and
we didn't talk about that.
drifter impressions.
Yeah. Roll back to earlier in the podcast. You hear us talking all kinds of stuff about Europa, but we didn't mention the
Beautiful.
legendary and master lost sectors. That's really cool. I haven't done one yet, but that's
I
really
haven't
cool they
done
had that.
one, but shout out to having a extra reward for soloing it. That is awesome. You can complete
That
it
is
and get a
cool.
reward, or you
Yep.
can choose to go solo and get something extra. Love
Yeah,
that.
I like
More
that
of
a
I
lot.
like that. I like that a lot.
I'd like to see that in the future for dungeons. Be like, hey, if you solo this dungeon, get an extra drop.
Like what they did with Prophecy, but even more so, because Prophecy gave you like the Sparrow and the
Cosmetics,
Ghost
yeah.
Shell, and yeah.
Yep.
Man, nice shout out to solo players who've often felt like they're getting kind of left out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Tyler says, thoughts on the exotic grenade launcher? Feels underwhelming due to its low damage.
Okay, Destiny players, I'm gonna need you to change your mindset from Outlaw Rampage Kill Clip mindset. Okay, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna throw it in the trash. We're now gonna think more about builds, aspects, fragments, freezing, shattering. That's where Stasis is. Stasis isn't like a pure damage dealing thing. It's a crowd control thing. You make things, you destroy them.
All right, I got to give a alternate viewpoint because I don't agree. I actually think that the reason why they put that in the heavy was because it would have been busted as a special weapon in the Crucible, which kind of breaks my heart because I think that weapon would have been perfect as a special because what you're giving up is the option to have a bunch of grenades to do damage. So you're essentially giving up that like, you know, that DPS potential of your heavy weapon in order to have the freezing stuff, which isn't really good for doing like damage. It's good for crowd control. So it's like, are you going to switch midway through if you get to a boss, you know? So I actually...
It's good for damage if you pair it with like Shatter Strike and stuff like that. That's where the damage of Stasis comes through. It's like a 1-2 step.
It's as good as just straight up using
like combos
grenades,
in
though.
Anthem.
You know?
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? I personally want Destiny to move away from that because it's boring. Whereas it's significantly more interesting if we go down the road of Destiny where it's freezing stuff and shattering stuff and having that give you more super energy or giving you heavy ammo when you do that. It's more interesting for builds for me going down this
Yeah.
way.
I agree going down that path, but I don't know if it actually does as much damage or more damage than having just a straight up heavy weapon that is doing straight DPS. So when I got it, I was like, I think this would have been perfect as a special, personally. Like, you know, fighting
Maybe
line
not.
or that.
Maybe I'd be interested to see what you think when you get fragments. Because shattering from that grenade launcher procs all of your fragment stuff.
Mm-hmm. When I used it, I was like, it doesn't really do a lot of damage. And that's why I was kind of disappointed that it was taking up a heavy slot for that.
Lightning round, moving on. David says, which sandbox change have you noticed or enjoyed the most so far as you've played through the content? Did rocket launchers get a buff? Because I feel like they're a lot better than they used to be.
They feel like it a little bit better. Yeah.
An ammo buff.
An ammo
Yeah.
buff, yeah.
Didn't they get like a actual damage increase? Or am I incorrect on that?
No.
Yeah.
Boy, I was using that new one that they give you during the story, and I was using them against those new walk. We didn't even talk about how there's new enemies to shoot, which is fun.
2 of them, yeah. Minotaur
But I was
Harpy
using them
dude.
against those fallen like
Briggs?
AT looking dudes.
Yeah, Briggs
And
are cool.
It was fun.
Hand cannons. 120s are great. They feel great.
I haven't gotten one yet. Quick Brown Fox says, my question is it any good? not been able to play because Bungie broke the control mappings on PS4 remote play.
Ooh.
Oh,
Bummer.
interesting.
Weird.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really,
pretty
really
good.
good. I'm
I like it
having
better
a
than Shadowkeep,
blast.
that's for sure. Mrs. Battery Low says, possibly a crazy question. Just curious on everyone's thoughts. Do you think that Destiny's PvP could benefit from having preset loadouts like older CODs did? Not for every section of PvP, just for the normal modes. Love the show. I
Maybe.
think that takes away what is essential. Like that is what Destiny is being able to build a loadout and bring like having all these guns and all these options to bring into the, like earn them in PvP, earn them in PvE, and bring them to PvP. That's like initially what.
That's what they
attracted me to
want. They want you to
Destiny.
get anything from anywhere and use it anywhere.
Yeah.
That's like their thing.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, it probably would benefit Crucible, but I really don't think that is the best route to go down for Destiny's Crucible, where you're taking it seriously and loadouts and competitive. And I think you just have to embrace the madness and go along with the madness for Destiny's Crucible.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua Sosa says, am I the only one hoping that we don't get a Vex-centric raid next week?
What if we get exos?
I don't know. I like the ostrich. She's pretty cute.
Do you think we're gonna get like an exo boss or possibly exo fallen in there or
Clovis?
something? Yeah, Clovis, right?
I don't know, because they showed like the robots being all creepy in that one trailer, right? Robots are being mega creepy.
In the story, the main baddie opened like a Vex portal. I think you're going to close that in the raid.
The Star Forge.
Yeah. I'm excited either way.
Dr. Bobo says, how would you feel about more regular sunsetting but lower masterwork cost?
I half paid attention to the question.
How would you feel about more regular sunsetting but lower masterwork costs? He says that it irks him that my armor, particularly, I've been using for 2 to 3 seasons, is still the best option, but there's no incentive to hunt for new stuff with the masterwork cost being so high.
Huh. I don't really think the masterwork costs are that high if you run enough Nightfalls. I think you have
Seems
plenty
to me
of
that masterworking is something for people who play the game a ton.
Yeah,
Because-
I don't give a shit about masterworking at all. I mean, to be rather frank, I just hate the infusion system as a whole because I just don't like having to grind the same content I've been grinding to then like slowly level up each piece to then reach a max level.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
that's been the thing keeping me from going back to Destiny in any heavy capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's not really the masterwork cost. It's just like the whole knowing that I'm gonna have to play the game for like 3 weeks to like get everything up to the max level, and knowing that it's 3 weeks is like, well, I'd rather just not.
Yeah. It's fatiguing.
Yeah, especially when Destiny's like occupied my mind for the better part of 6 years. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying just not having to deal with that right now.
I kind of agree with you there, Patrick. I just don't interact with it. You know, I play the parts of the game that I enjoy right now, and I just kind of choose to ignore what I don't enjoy.
Yeah. I found that
that
shooting
that
stuff
kinda
in the
suits me pretty
face
well.
is like really good.
Still
in the
feels
game.
good. All these
Still
years,
feels
yeah.
good.
That's so
And
good.
you know, just if I can't kill something by shooting it in the face, then that probably means I have to grind a bunch. And
Some rules of thumb
Yeah.
right there.
Doughboy says, I was going to ask if PvE and PvP sandboxes should be separated, but instead I want to point out that we still find things to complain about, even after a great new expansion drops. So to my question, do we complain just to complain, or
yes,
completion because we
Oh.
love the game?
Definitely
No,
complain.
people absolutely have a hobby of complaining on the internet, where their whole thing is going to find a forum with other people who are complaining to complain together and have a good time. Some people enjoy complaining.
They just want to bitch and moan. You know, a good bitch session.
Yeah, get it out. You know, maybe you had a bad day. Like, I'm gonna go bitch about some Stasis right now. Let me go. I'm going.
I
It's also very good for
there's
SEO.
I also think there's a it's like a kind of thing that's happened in our culture where it's you tend to point out the bad things more than like
Yeah.
necessarily the good things in discussions.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'm not saying this to like try to invalidate any of the complaints and criticisms that are going on because they sound very valid from what since they're just so consistent across the board. If anything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it's
like
definitely not perfect.
Mhm.
Absolutely not.
Fricato says, "What is your favorite new weapon so far?"
No time to explain. Portal Buddy.
It might be the legendary pulse rifle from Varix. It's just so smooth. It does its job. It feels consistent. It's nice. I like that a lot.
I don't think I have a favorite yet. I want more. I want to. Nothing that I've gotten so far is.
How about that long
I don't
shadow?
have the grenade launcher. My son does though, and I was watching him use it. I'm like, that's cool as hell. And I understand that it doesn't do a ton of damage, but I just like what it does.
It is cool.
So
Yeah.
I haven't earned it yet. I was watching my son play with it though. I was standing behind his shoulder. Like he loves so much when I do that.
Are you winning, son?
Arlo says, okay, my question, with Stasis finally out, when will DCP Live do Trials of Osiris? We'll be taking a sip every time Watts gets frozen first. I think we fucked up, guys. We should have done this.
I know, right?
We done fucked up.
Now we have to wait until it's 120 FPS, right?
Which it will be.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
We can't be playing on PS4 or PS5 without 120 FPS. That has to be a thing.
Absolutely not.
We will
Wow.
definitely play Trials together.
December 11th or later.
Sometime in December.
No particular reason
DVD.
for it.
Jolly Dick says, with Beyond Light and next generation consoles out now, in your guys' opinion, what are the best settings to maximize the new console's power?
Settings?
Settings?
I would
settings?
set everything to 4K 120 hertz. Just let it rip.
The field of view, max it out when you get that option.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
All the
definitely.
way.
Just bam.
A lot of games are shipping now with like performance or
They are, yeah.
what would be the
Resolution.
resolution mode or like graphics modes, and always choose performance.
Yeah.
I
Godfall.
switched for a second in Godfall, and I was like,
Yeah,
never mind.
that's rough. That's a rough transition, isn't it?
Really?
Like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like did you remember Monster Hunter World had a performance had like a resolution performance mode as well? And
Yeah.
it's like, ooh.
You put it
that was
on, you're
rough.
like, ooh, never mind.
It's already kind of laggy in performance mode, but ooh.
Yeah, you get 60 FPS out of that now if you put it in the new consoles.
Oh really?
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Juan23 says, recap the opening cinematic in one breath.
You leave that Steve server alone.
One breath. Yeah. Oh.
One breath.
It's my breath.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
James Carey says,
That's it.
who is the next to get the Cade treatment out of the tower crew?
Zavala?
Gotta be.
What if we end up killing Zavala because he is trying to stop us using darkness, and then we just kill him?
I wouldn't even apologize.
Some dark timeline where we're standing there like, Zavala, you gotta go. Sorry.
No, wait. Brother Vance.
Brother
saying
Man's
you're
already
already dead.
dead.
Is he? I thought he stuck
He went
in some
into,
time
or
loop.
like he like, all I can imagine with Brother Vance and the whole pyramid situation is him running out there being like, I am a loyal devotee of Osiris, and then just running at the triangles and getting evaporated, and then he's gone.
I thought he locked himself
I think
into
he's in the
the
Infinite
forest. Yeah. Which means he's probably still alive being a bitch. So he needs to die.
Maybe he's gonna come out being really knowledgeable and fun.
Doubtful. Press X to doubt.
That is Optimistic.
Comes back and he's like, guys, I realized I was a really cringy fanboy.
Mhm.
I'm gonna apologize, and also,
Fawn says, with all the changes that come to Beyond Light, the new subclasses, campaign, and new weapons, how's everybody liking the Titan Ugg boots? I think they're fucking fantastic.
I haven't used any other than the Hunter.
I think everything looks great. Honestly.
Those are definitely Uggs too. They are for sure. Gianni Gilio says, after using them, if you could rename the darkness subclass anything, what would you rename them?
Chili.
Ice baby.
Yeah, Ice
I
Ice
like
Baby.
that. I like that. Only Vanilla Ice songs.
Does he have more than one song?
yeah,
Presumably.
unfortunately.
Blink 148 says, now that we have Stasis, DCP on Ice, when? When are we going on tour with DCP on Ice?
Next month when we do trials.
Yeah. We'll be visiting
Not
a
it.
town near you. You're welcome
Not it.
for the free win.
Dr. Eric Diebler says, if you could put a Destiny Fire team on 3 into a Destiny Fire team of 3 into any work of fiction, what would it be? And how would that change the story?
Ooh.
Total Recall.
Yeah. How's that
Alien
change the
versus
story?
Predator. Alien versus Predator. Predator becomes a guardian. There you go.
Ooh, I like it. I would play that video game once. Guardians versus Aliens. I love it.
That's what we have now.
I guess so.
Yeah, but Predator's orange. Varix is Predator. Oh, didn't
Yeah,
know.
Predator is a new 4th class. Doughboy says, with the new consoles launching, why don't controllers have back buttons as a standard feature?
True.
Patents.
And use comments, people. Also, don't eat Briar. Yeah, fuck yeah, Doughboy.
Wow.
False.
Who is this?
I don't agree with this statement anymore.
Doughboy's
I hope
killing
controllers
it.
never have back
Doughboy
buttons
gets
ever again.
the gold star this week.
Doughboy clearly. Doughboy is
Doughboy's
Zavala, where Zavala is
misguided.
like, don't play with those toys, telling me not to eat Briar. Well, what if I want it? What if that's fun for me?
Yeah.
What if I was
it's
hungry?
delicious? Yeah. What if I'm hungry?
I am hungry. Hungry right now.
Shanksopotamus says, an evil emperor takes over the world. Somehow you are
Meet
his
Briar.
architect. The only buildings you
meet
know
Briar.
how to design look like video game consoles. Which consoles do you use to make his evil headquarter?
The one that we eat.
The
Briar.
new
PlayStation
Xbox.
5.
New Xbox.
Definitely the PS5.
The PS5
No, the new
has
Xbox.
got bad guy headquarters written all over it. It's got
really
a popped collar.
Yeah. That looks
The new
like bad guy.
PlayStation looks like the fucking Tony Stark's tower.
I mean, sort of.
Yeah, you're right.
Dude, the Xbox is just like a fucking brutalist fucking cube.
It's like the
Black
Borg.
rectangle does not.
But black triangle makes it spooky. But you can't have a black rectangle's not spooky.
Yeah, no, I think the
Triangle,
Series X, because
definitely.
also the perforations on the top are like letting out, you know, cosmic gas. That's
Cosmic vape.
cosmic.
Yeah,
Body heat
cosmic
comes out of
vape.
there too. Holy shit! Have you guys? Did you guys see Xbox tweeted out, "Please do not blow vape into the
Yeah.
Xbox."
Yes, they did.
Wild, right?
Yep.
That was good stuff. The Mohegan 9 says, "Wow, we're almost done. We nailed it, guys. We killed it."
Oh wow.
The
Helen.
Mohegan 9 says, "What is your go-to funniest reason for being late? You don't have to read this. My kid tested positive for COVID. Please wear your mask."
Oh Jesus.
Oh, I wasn't
It's
supposed to read that.
okay.
Hey, I'm
Oh.
glad your kid is okay, Mohegan. All right, I hope your kid is okay. Jesus.
Yes, we
please
hope
wear a mask.
you're. Yes, our thoughts are definitely with you
I
guys.
was late because I was busy eating Briar.
The best one I ever heard was a meteor hit my pool.
That's pretty great.
It was pretty good. I'm normally late because I'm playing video games for too long. Which isn't
Yeah.
very funny.
I feel like
Sorry, guys. I was playing Godfall.
I feel like I'm late because I'm late. You know, I usually don't give like an excuse. I was like, sorry, I'm late. I'm late.
I just choose to never be late to things.
I'm late because I don't value your
always on time.
Holtz is punctual.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I can't help it. I can go extra early. It doesn't make a difference. Something will happen to make me late.
That's what my wife says, but she's never actually tried leaving early, to be fair. Or on time. HugoRune79 says, as you guys have no doubt been talking all things ice related, I recently discovered my great aunt was on board the Titanic. So here is emergency question number 716. What amazing secret about a relative did you only find out after they were dead?
Oh, I don't think I have one at all.
Yeah, that sounds specific.
Yeah.
My grandfather Teft was a rock hound, liked collecting rocks. His favorite rock was uranium. Carried it in his pocket his whole life. Died of cancer.
No shit.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's a true story?
That's a true story.
Wow. That's crazy.
Died of cancer in his 60s. Favorite rock was uranium because it glowed green.
Yeah.
It's a pretty rock. It is pretty. Wow. That's crazy.
I found out my dad beat my grandma. Grandpa beat my grandma. That was
Did
sad.
you say eat?
Beat? Your grandma?
Beat. No, he
That's-
hit her
Jesus.
like a lot. And he was like my hero growing up, and I was really upset about it.
Oh yeah,
That's rough.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Is there another question? Maybe a funny
Sure.
one?
Odin says, winged AT-ST or robot ostrich?
Oh, it's definitely an ostrich. Oh,
Yeah.
but which one's better? Oh, definitely the ostrich.
I thought he was talking
Ostrich.
about yeah, okay.
No, the
Is
ostrich.
he talking about that new character in Destiny or that
the
new
dive
enemy
bomb.
in
The
Destiny?
dive bomb's insane.
Yeah, he's so cool. And then he gets down and he's like kicking and flipping, and I'm like, whoa, you look like a bird. That's cool.
The dive bomb knocked me off the ledge. Made me wipe. I was like, damn, okay.
What a dick.
Yeah.
I like robot ostrich. It's just got more of a ring to it, really.
Sounds like a
Robot
cartoon that you'd totally watch.
Like robot chicken?
Yes.
Mhm.
Like that one?
Yeah, I do. Last question of the night, guys. We made it.
All right.
Another DCP. That was a lot of questions we just got through.
Mm-hmm.
Dreadnought
Yes.
says, how's No Nut November going for everybody?
I feel like there's no good way to answer that.
If you say good, it's bad. If you say bad, it's good. Bad, good, good, bad. I don't know.
It's fucking horrible, I guess.
I had cashews today, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been eating a lot of almonds. Got a bag of raw ones.
I haven't recently had any macadamians, but I might change that up soon.
Oh,
Macadamias
that's
are
the
good.
best nut to have in November.
Pistachios
Mhm.
are delicious. You got to work for them.
Pistachios are
I'm
delicious.
more of a
Yeah.
cashew. More of a cashew kind
Cashews
of guy.
are great.
Cashews,
Yeah.
you know what's nice about pistachios is that you do have to open each individual one. So
Mm.
it's like an activity and a food.
Yeah, it's like crawfish.
There it
God
is.
Damn it.
I can't believe we basically got through the whole podcast and just now mentioned crawfish.
Been
Unbelievable.
holding it back.
Crazy. When was
That
the
was,
last time you had some crawfish? Holtz.
I made a seafood gumbo and put some crawfish tail meat into that.
Nice.
Do you have to get it
That's the-
frozen up there? Or?
Yeah, I have to get it frozen.
Does that break your
Can't
heart?
get it does. It doesn't taste as good. It's not as fatty, it doesn't have the right level of spice in it. It's just it's not as good as the real stuff.
Patrick, I have to ask.
Mhm.
If you were to create a briar cooked dish to go along with
God
crawdads,
Damn, Watts, you are
how would you
dark.
make it? Would it
Yeah, what's the
To
ratio
go
of
along with
crawfish?
crawdads, are we okay? So like just straight up having crawfish,
but with briar?
but if we're going to have briar, I'd probably make like a gumbo, honestly, and
Gumbo
then
briar.
incorporate the
Gumbo
crawfish
briar.
meat and the briar meat all in the same thing.
That
Dig it.
would be
Yeah.
cosmic
This shit
briar
keeps me up
gumbo.
at night. I hope you know. Really terrifying.
Briar, I hope you know that whenever I'm talking about eating you, I'm always thinking of the rabbit form of you, not the human form of you.
I'm
Glad
definitely.
to hear that.
I'm thinking
That's
about
weird,
the
Holtz.
human form.
Yeah.
I'm vegan. I can't eat rabbits. Only Briar.
Oh my god.
I didn't know that vegan, like, would vegan also cover like you could be a cannibal vegan?
You can. Yep.
Huh?
In this particular case, on this podcast, that's correct.
No, those are the rules.
Yeah.
You can definitely eat people.
You cannot have honey because you're stealing from the bees. So don't you
steal
dare.
from the bees. Bees are important.
But Briar,
What if you
totally.
steal the honey from a bear who stole the honey? Then can you have it?
You're stealing from the bear.
You can't do crimes against bears. Only Briars.
That's the episode. That's the show. Episode number 214 of DCP Live. Thank you very much for going on this wild, chilly journey with us.
Yes.
Holtz, thanks for coming on and hanging out.
Yeah, no
it's always a
problem.
pleasure, man.
No problem. I probably should have played Destiny more if I was coming on.
I think you played plenty of Destiny. What are you talking about?
Your lifetime average is pretty high.
Yeah. It's taken a nosedive in the recent months, but I feel like I could not play for a year and I would still be in like the top 1%. Easy.
Probably.
Absolutely, yeah. Where can people find you nowadays?
You can find me on Twitter at Holtzmann_YT, where you will find me posting about things like keyboards and waifus. A lot of waifus. I've been playing a lot of Genshin Impact, and man, I've invested a lot in some waifus. You'll also find me on my Twitch stream, so you can see me playing the waifus, twitch.tv/Holtzmann. And then if you want to know more about where I'm working at, look up Poorly Timed. Excuse me, burped. Look up Poorly Timed
Can you
Games.
get spelling on that?
Poorly Timed Games. Yes.
Poorly timed.
Poorly timed games. Look them up. That is the current company I'm working on, and we've been releasing a little bit of teaser info about the game recently. We had some art done by the lovely Jake Mylar, the Watermelon Exo.
Awesome.
Fame.
Also a keyboard fanatic.
Yes, he's also a keyboard fanatic. He literally messaged me during this podcast about keyboards because I messaged him before the podcast about keyboards.
Is he also several $1,000s deep in keyboard parts?
Yes. Well, see, it's not so much that you're deep in keyboard parts; it's that you spent a lot of money and then you have to patiently wait for the keyboard parts to actually get manufactured and shipped. Yeah. So
then while you're waiting, you got to buy more.
Pretty much.
Naturally.
Yeah, that's actually happened. I've purchased more keyboard parts because I was waiting for the ones I purchased to buy, and then finally, I think they're going to start coming in next month. Actually, my first full keyboard came in 2 days ago, but they didn't send half the parts with it, so I've been hounding them to actually.
You never want to be in a situation where you've already received all the parts that you ordered and don't have anything out you're waiting for. So you always want to make sure there's something coming, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Like Briar and his cables, always something coming.
I got an NES on the way. That only cost me $500. Should show up any month now.
Wait, an NES?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like one of those ultra snazzy modern ones that's like, okay, cool.
Briar, where can people find you?
Patiently waiting for the FedEx guy who will definitely drive away without knocking, but has to get a signature.
Yeah.
He won't.
It's true.
I am Miss 5000 Watts. Find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look up Miss 5000 Watts. Playing a mixture of Genshin. I need to jump into Destiny and Godfall, but I think it's going to be Destiny and Godfall for a little bit.
You didn't mention Bug Snacks at all.
Oh fuck! You're right.
I know. I've heard it's a really lovely adventure game.
A harrowing
I heard
tale.
it's actually really crazy.
I'll be playing it tomorrow actually on stream.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
with Andy as well. I have an actual
I will
dual
watch
stream set up now with
Nice.
Andy that I'm updating.
Will you guys be doing drugs while playing Bug Snacks?
Alcohol
You
is a drug,
should.
so we'll be probably doing alcohol. Yes.
There you go.
I think I'll do drugs while I'm watching you do drugs. Play Bug Snacks.
Bug snacks are completely wholesome.
Oh my gosh.
Can we ferment some bug snacks to make bug snack alcohol? I wonder if that's
we're
a thing.
talking.
You could go to the Mariners
Yeah.
Stadium and buy some crickets.
Oh, crickets, yeah.
It's closed.
Excellent.
But yeah, you could eat crickets. Yeah.
I'm Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter and catch my streams, twitch.tv/Tefty Teft. I'm also playing Beyond Light and Godfall on my new PS5. And also want to shout out to all of our Patreon members who support the show. Thank you very much for making DCP Live happen. And thanks to our live Twitch subs as well. You guys are awesome. Thanks for subbing and resubbing during the shows. And that's it for this episode. We'll see you. Side Quest is coming on Monday, where we're going to talk deep dive into all the stuff that got released this week for the new consoles. And
I have so much to talk about.
I have a lot to say.
Lots to talk about. Yep. That's it. Bye, guys.
That's it. Thank you
Bye.
so much, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.